subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Being cleared. In the world of Crayon Shinchan, Noera Shinisuke received a reward, a year's worth of Super Deluxe Supreme King Gold Bear cookies. Next video, the zombie story continues. Where will Nobita, Nobi go? What secrets are hidden behind Umbrella? Look forward to Nobita, Nobi's Resident Evil 3. Post views. 36. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 080. A time machine goes back to the past to change history. Nobita is feelings Crayon Shinchan world. Wow. After seeing the reward, Xiaoxi's eyes lit up and he shouted excitedly. That's great, that's great. It's Little Bear cookies, and it's the luxurious Supreme Gold Edition. Xiaoxian was very excited, and his hands and feet couldn't stop dancing. His mother would never buy him so many Little Bear cookies. Wow, I'm so envious. I haven't even tried the luxurious Supreme Gold version yet. Zhengnan clenched his hands and looked at Xiaoxi with envy. Because this version is super expensive, Adai nodded and said intermittently, that's right, even my mother only bought it for me once. Feng Jian fiddled with his hair and always said things like this, as if he was pretending. At the same time, at Xiaoxian's house, 1-year biscuits, it feels a bit ordinary. Guangxi sighed. Other people's rewards are all space, talent, and so on. Why are they just small cookies? But it's true. This reward is for Xiaoxi, not for him. Suddenly, Maya's scream was heard. Guangxi came back to his senses and looked over quickly. What's wrong? What happened, Maya? My husband looked at the price of this cookie. Maya put the phone in front of Guangxi. Price. Guangxi was stunned at first. Then he looked carefully, and his pupils shrank in shock. He said, tremblingly, 1 box costs more than 18,000 Sakura coins. It's so expensive, it must be made of gold. It's a deluxe edition. No, honey, it's the Deluxe Supreme King Gold Edition. Well, it doesn't matter. Maya suddenly came over, leaned close to Guangxi's ear and whispered, a year's worth of cookies. That would be at least a few hundred boxes. Do you think we should go to Shinchan and borrow some? This, hearing what his wife said, Guangxi was a little moved and swallowed his saliva, but still said, it's not good. After all, this is Xiaoxi's thing. Don't worry. I will exchange 5 boxes of cookies for 5 boxes, and that guy will definitely agree. Besides, I just searched on the internet, and the taste of this version of cookies is not much different from the regular version. It's just very commemorative. Guangxi also thought that Maisie's suggestion was very promising, so he nodded and said, then let's discuss it with him when Shinchan comes back. I think it's better to get the guy's agreement for this kind of thing. We can't make decisions on our own. Doraemon Universe. On the Ice River planet. Oh, it's Resident Evil. It's my favorite. Kara's beautiful eyes flashed, and a hint of anticipation flashed in her eyes. Huh. The doctor smiled and said jokingly, at the beginning, you were so scared that you didn't dare to let go of Dumbo. Why are you different now? Doctor, Kara's pretty face turned red and she snorted. How could the doctor expose someone's past like this? She also has the save face. Seeing Kara's reaction, the doctor couldn't help laughing out loud. Soon, a new picture appeared in the dimmed light curtain. In the previous video, Nobita, Fat Tiger, and Shungnai went to our city where the Umbrella branch was located to gather intelligence. Unexpectedly, they were attacked by zombies again. After going through all kinds of hardships, they finally escaped by helicopter and was annihilated by the nuclear strike. After meeting up with other partners, they are ready to launch the next attack on Umbrella. This video continues from there. At this time, Umbrella Mercenary Team UBSC base, a team member named Esta reported to his leader, Lisingurski Esta, I have a bad thing here, a trivial thing. Please look at this photo. The photo of Nobita and his group appeared on the screen. What is this? Lisingurski's questioning voice said. Photos of children? Who are these guys? Turn out to be. These photos were recorded by the surveillance camera data recovered from the ruins of the Research Institute of the Mangtaiyuan branch. I filmed Nobita and his team raiding the Research Institute and stealing confidential information. Lisingursky couldn't believe that this was done by a group of children. After repeated confirmation, he had to accept this fact. It was because of them that Umbrella's secret research on the virus was almost exposed. But there is another urgent matter. The location of the virus and biological weapon samples that were stolen in South America 3 weeks ago has been confirmed. On board a new Gap ship, sailing towards the Bull Country, although staff tried to retrieve it before leaving the port, they failed. Then, the company's top management decided to send the UBC team to retrieve the virus on the ship and destroy the evidence. Xiong touched his head and looked at the light screen with a puzzled look on his face. He subconsciously looked at Xiongda beside him. Who are this Esta and this silly Lisingu? Why haven't I heard of them before? Xiongda helplessly held his forehead and said, "It's Lisingursky." Judging from their conversation, they should be members of Umbrella Corporation. What? Xiong was shocked and said quickly, "Umbrella Company. Isn't it the one that created the zombie virus? In other words, they're the bad guys." Atieda nodded slightly and said seriously, "I smell a conspiracy." Well, Xiaozhi glanced at Atieda and said, "Your nose is quite sensitive. That's not right. We are robots. Where do we get noses?" Suddenly, he realized someone actually tried to steal the biochemical virus. It seems that Umbrella is not the only one in power. The situation is much more complicated than I thought. Kalulu touched her chin and stared at the screen. The screen continued to play. The camera came to the target ship. It was dead silent here. Lisingursky and his team member Sika dived in from underwater, while the other team members were on guard in the air by helicopter. Not finding any crew members, the two began to sneak, try not to disturb others, quietly. This is a silent action. Lisingursky said softly to Sika, but he had just finished the previous sentence when the sound of the door opening the next second was so loud that he wished the whole ship could hear it. There was a moment of silence, and Lisingursky said awkwardly, "Forget what I said before then." I rushed to the front, but after walking for a while, a person in front of me blocked my way with his back to the front. Because he had received permission to kill the crew member, Lisingursky did not hesitate. He took out his knife and stabbed the crew member directly. Just as I was about to loot his supplies, I turned him over and saw that he had turned into a zombie. Lisingursky quickly realized that the virus on the ship might have been leaked. So he quickly notified the other team members to be on high alert after entering the interior. A group of zombies followed after smelling the smell. At the critical moment, the two hid in a warehouse, and Esta also suppressed the bridge and stopped the ship. Happy Gray World. Inside Wolfberg, it turns out that even the people from Umbrella, the company that created the zombie virus, can't control the zombies. Grey Wolf said this as he looked at the two people who had to hide because of the zombies. But it is also possible that these two guys are just small fry in the group and do not have any key information at all. The two checked the containers in the warehouse and found that they were full of the bodies of stowaways. A virus broke out and they were all infected. I can only fend for myself here. It is not clear how many stowaways there are. Continue to explore forward and find the container where the biological weapons are located. Bang! With a loud bang, the door of the container was suddenly pushed open by a strange force. Lisingursky looked out to check the situation. Unexpectedly, a bloody and ferocious tyrant stepped out from inside, frightening him so much that he quickly ran back. Fortunately, another team member, Yanov, arrived with heavy weapons. One rocket launcher sent the tyrant to hell. Doraemon Universe, I'm so envious. Nobita looked at the rocket launcher in the picture with envy. If he had such a weapon at that time, he wouldn't have to fight a guerrilla war with the tyrant. It would be much easier to just take him away with one shot, if the equipment is too poor. Nobita looked at Doraemon and couldn't help but say, if Doraemon's pockets in that world are good, these zombies are nothing. If we are really occupied by zombies one day, we can just use a bomb to destroy the Earth and die together. After ensuring safety everywhere, Esta and other staff also came to the warehouse, recover the virus. Several of the jars containing the virus are broken, but fortunately one is intact. After the recovery is completed, everyone will put all the bombs they brought in the fuel depot. After everyone evacuated, detonate the bomb to destroy the evidence. Umbrella is beginning to decline. Suddenly, Lisingursky said this sentence for some reason. The scene changes to Nobita's team. We have been hiding in the secret base in Saitama Prefecture for a long time, and today is the day when half of the personnel on the blockade line in Mangtaiyuan City will be evacuated. Because of the previous virus outbreak, Mangtaiyuan City was blocked and could not be approached. Because the town was not destroyed like our, everyone wants to return to Nobita's home and let Doraemon use the time machine to go back to the past and change history. As long as we can take a time machine back to before the zombie outbreak, then there will be a chance to save everything. Everyone is ready to sacrifice. After drawing up a battle plan, everyone started to act. Zombie World. Bai Xiaofei was confused. You can still play like this, use a time machine to change history. Why doesn't our world have a time machine? Suddenly, I realized that my world seems to be quite different from the world where Nobita and the others live. On the other side, Long Yu frowned after seeing Nobita's plan on the screen. Time machine, I wonder if humans in this world have this kind of scientific device. From what he has read in books, it is unlikely that humans will have such a thing as a time machine, given the current level of human technology. But it is better to be safe than sorry. He still has to be prepared, lest there really is a time machine. That would be terrible. However, humans today probably don't even know the source of the zombie virus, so it shouldn't be a big deal. 30 kilometers away from Mangtaiyuan City, Tai Ying and his new subordinate Kashiwagi are on guard at the defense line. Tai Ying has been promoted to the rank of second lieutenant. The so-called first class and second class Lu Chao are both job ranks in the organization. Call. So boring. Lord Lu Chao, how long do we have to do this? Kashiwagi yawned, feeling bored. But that's the job of a guard. It's boring when there's nothing to do, but when there's something to do, it's basically life-threatening. The two were talking about the virus outbreak 2 years ago. A figure suddenly emerged from the side. It was Shizuka. Who is it? What are you doing here? Kashiwagi was startled and quickly looked at Shizuka. In this apocalyptic period, he would not let down his guard just because the other party was a child. Otherwise, he would die without knowing how. Post views. 37. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 081081. The time machine is destroyed. Nobita is in despair. In the light curtain, because Nobita had contacted beforehand, Daxiong asked his men to take Shizuka to the rest stop. After sending his men away, Nobita and his team appeared one after another. Mr. Daxiong. Nobita said hello to Daxiong. Daxiong smiled and said, "Long time no see, kid. You have become very mature after not seeing you for a while." Although he didn't know what Nobita and the others were going to do, Daxiong believed that they would not do anything bad. Daxiong was worried and wanted to go with the children, but he had to attend to official business. After a brief reunion, Daxiong let a few people pass through the defense line and headed to Mangtaiyuan City. But on the way, Nobita and his friends encountered the corpse of a strange creature, which seemed to be a biological weapon. From the blood that had not yet coagulated, it was speculated that this biological weapon should have died not long ago. But they didn't think much about it and continued to move towards the town. When I came to the familiar town, the lively town was now dead silent, with bones and remains everywhere on the streets. Several crows were pecking at the bones on the ground. Seeing this, Fat Tiger couldn't suppress his anger and rushed up to drive the crows away. "Hateful, don't joke with me. These are not your food." The white bones on the ground could have been their relatives and friends when they were alive. At this moment, everyone's mood is as heavy and complicated as Fat Tiger's. Continuing forward, another group of crows appeared, surrounding a strange corpse. The men didn't want to disturb the crows, but a crow that Fat Tiger had just chased away suddenly flew over, as if ordering its companions to attack. "Wow, it's coming this way." Nobita and the others were startled. Nobita and his companions had no choice but to fight after killing the crow. We encountered a lot of zombie dogs on the way. They might be wild animals nearby. Nobita and Xingnai are analyzing the situation in an alley. Zombie World Nobita and Sena. Bai Xiaofei looked at the picture on screen. He suspected that the relationship between Nobita and Xingnai was definitely unusual, and they could no longer be considered friends. This immediately reminded him of Shizuka, who was still at the rest stop, and he mourned in silence. It seemed that Shizuka in this world was no match for Xingna. She was about to rob your house. Bai Xiaofei touched his head. Could this be the legendary green plum that could not defeat the one who fell from the sky? The picture on the screen continued to play. Three three-headed dogs suddenly appeared on the road and surrounded the two. When the two were surprised, a three-headed dog jumped down from the building behind Xingnai and bit him. Xingnai! Nobita was startled and extremely anxious. The two fought back with all their might, but fortunately these three-headed dogs were relatively weak and did not pose much of a threat. Good job. I was bitten by a three-headed dog again. It seems that the three-headed dog is Xingnai's lifelong enemy. Zhang Chuan looked at the bitten Xingnai in the picture and couldn't help but say. He remembered that Xingnai was bitten by a zombie dog before, and the injury was much more serious than this time. And the strength of the three-headed dog that appeared the first time was a level stronger than these few, and it was able to escape from Nobita's hands several times. In a light curtain, although bitten, Sanai has been vaccinated, so it is not a big deal. But this also reminded the two of their bad experiences in City R. It was strange that biological weapons were still in stock in this town that had been uninhabited for 2 years. After simply bandaging Xingnai's wound, he continued on his way. There was a group of hunters in front of us, and there were several damaged sealed cabins next to us. It seemed that they were man-made. The three-headed dog was probably placed here by someone. It killed many hunters along the way. When they arrived at the school gate, Doraemon and Nobita reminisced about the past. There won't be any flashbacks, will there? Hualin Fei complained. He hated flashbacks the most. They were boring and long, and people had no interest in watching them. Back then, Nobita was still a good-for-nothing. But now, without relying on Doraemon's props, I have grown into a person who can stand on his own. Nobita thought of his parents again. But suddenly, Xingnai's screams came from afar. The two did not dare to hesitate and rushed to the place where the sound came from. I saw Anxiong lying on the ground, with a turtle-like monster in front of him. Bang, 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 K. The other companions shot at him, but the bullets had no effect at all. Seeing this scene, Fat Tiger was extremely angry and roared uncontrollably. Beast! Bastard! You dare to kill Anxiong! Damushin was also surprised. How can there be such a creature? Bullets are completely useless on it. The turtle just left as if nothing had happened, leaving a few people standing there in confusion. Turtle, this reminds me of the old man, Xian Yitzi. Hualin Fei stroked his chin. When he mentioned the turtle, the figure of Xian Yitzi appeared in his mind. Hey, don't slander the master like that, or you'll get beaten up by him when he comes back. Tian Yu reminded. Unexpectedly, Hualin Fei smiled and then posed in a pose that he thought was very handsome. With my talent, I'll stay in the small space for a few more days and then come out when I have cultivated the fantasy universe. By then, I will be invincible in the world. Not to mention Xian Yitzi. I can even control the King of Hell with one hand. Oh, then, are you really going to look for the Snow Queen, just like in the photo before? Miao Qiaojun asked. This, Hualin Fei touched his nose and said, let's see what happens when the time comes. Hee. Finally, another teammate died. This is so interesting now. King Dima, sitting on the throne, grinned wildly. For him, this kind of scene was the most exciting. Despair, companions die one after another. Despair, seeing the angry, desperate, and terrified expressions of Nobita and others. King Dima felt his body trembling with excitement. Happy Superman world hiss. As expected of a turtle zombie, even its defense is so strong. Big Monster took a breath and said, that's good. We lost a teammate not long after the start. It seems that it will be difficult to deal with it next. General Dagwai. I'm scared. Xiaozhi stuck close to General Dagwai and said with a frightened face, what are you afraid of? The great monster general shouted. We are from the planet of discouragement, and we don't have the word fear. At the same time, at Dr. Zhai's house, oh my God. I was so scared. That guy's face turned out like this. If one day my face turned out like this, I would die. Looking at Anxiong's completely inhuman face on the screen, Huaxin Chaoran was immediately shocked. Then, he quickly took out a mirror and started looking at himself. I was really scared, but fortunately my face is still so handsome. The superheroes beside him looked at him, speechlessly. He was going to die, so why would he care about his face? Vomit! Doctor, look at Anxiong's face. Looking at the almost completely corroded face of Anxiong in the screen, Kara's pretty face suddenly turned pale, and she felt a little nauseous. Even the bones were exposed, but there was still some flesh hanging on them. The picture was disgusting. The doctor touched his chin. Although he felt a little nauseous, he still guessed. It's terrible. It should have been dissolved by some substance. The screen continued to play. It turned out that Anxiong was attacked by the turtle with strong acid because of his negligence. Seeing that the turtle just walked away, Fat Tiger couldn't help but say, "How could I let you escape, bastard?" But Chu Mushin stopped Fat Tiger and said, "Wait, Fat Tiger, we don't know the situation of that thing right now. It's too dangerous to chase after it." Sheng Nai was so frightened that he sat paralyzed on the side, sacrificing a companion. I really can't stand it. Although what Chu Mushin said made sense, Fat Tiger's anger had completely swallowed up his reason at this moment. He just wanted to go up and kill the turtle to avenge his companion. "Let's go, Nobita. I'm going to kill that bastard." Fat Tiger also called Nobita. Chu Mushin also knew that he couldn't stop Fat Tiger, so Nobita had to take Anxiong's grenade launcher. With this, maybe he could really kill that guy. Nobita went to look for Fat Tiger, dodged the monsters on the road, and found Fat Tiger in an abandoned warehouse. Because the weapons on his body had no effect on the turtle, and Fat Tiger could only flee to the warehouse in a panic. Afterwards, everyone gathered in the warehouse, which was the warehouse where Nobita got the pistol when the biochemical crisis broke out. Doraemon universe, so that's where it is. I was wondering why it looked familiar. Nobita suddenly remembered that if it weren't for the pistol, he would have been eaten by zombies. Damn it, that bastard actually dared to kill Anxiong. Nobita, we lost a companion. Not only the Fat Tiger in the picture, but even the Fat Tiger in reality couldn't accept it. He clenched his fists and wanted to rush in and fight the turtle. But he was sure that he couldn't win. "Hey," Nobita sighed and shook his head. "Fat Tiger, although I know you are very sad, I can only say that you must separate the world in the picture from our world. Otherwise, you won't be able to accept many things like what my mother did to my father when she turned into a zombie." "That's right." Doraemon nodded and said, "Fat Tiger, you need to control your emotions. You see, Nobita is controlling himself very well now. If it were you, Nobita would probably still be immersed in the scene with his mom and dad at the beginning. You can feel pain and sadness for Anxiong's death, but I hope you don't feel too much, otherwise it may affect your health." Call. Fat Tiger took a deep breath and felt that what Nobita and Doraemon said made sense. "Yeah." Shizuka nodded. In the picture, she was almost stolen by Sheng Nai. Fortunately, it was only in a parallel world. After a short rest, the group continued their journey. Finally, they arrived at Nobita's house. But the scene before them dashed everyone's hopes. Because fires broke out everywhere, the second floor of Nobita's house was burned to ashes, and only the first floor was not seriously damaged. With a bang, Nobita couldn't stand the stimulation and his nervousness during this period, so he fainted on the ground. "Nobita!" Fat Tiger, shouted Doraemon, checked, and said, "He fainted due to the stimulation. Let's move him into the house first." After a while, Nobita finally woke up. "Well, what's wrong with me?" Izuki-san is taking care of him and confirms that the time machine is destroyed. Nobita has lost hope. But Izuki thinks this is the most normal. Being able to freely travel between the past and the future is usually impossible. Now, they have just become ordinary people again. Because we have experienced so much, everyone has grown a little. Doraemon universe. Nobita's home? After hearing what Iki-san said in the picture, everyone turned their heads and looked at the entrance of the time machine under the desk and couldn't help but fall in a deep thought. Nobita touched his chin. Under normal circumstances, it is not possible to travel freely between the past and the future, but we just came back from the West. I think I use the time machine quite often. Xiaofu said, "Yes, we don't seem to have used the time machine with Mushin. Maybe we can bring him with us next time." Well, Doraemon said, in fact, the time machine really can't be used casually or the time police will come and catch you. After this, Nobita was even more confused. That's not right. I have used the time machine dozens of times. Why no one came to catch me? And it was Sharpshooter who sent Doraemon here in the first place, right? Well, hearing this, Doraemon shook his head. I'm not sure. Maybe we were a little special. But at this moment, a bullet flew in the distance, startling Nobita and Izuki. Ow! Izukisu, Nobita asked hurriedly, because the bullet seemed to be aimed at Izukisu. It's just a superficial wound. Izuki shook his head and replied. Fortunately, it only caused a slight scratch to Daxiong. The two of them quickly lay down. Judging from the monsters they had encountered before, it was very likely that Umbrella's people were sniping from a distance. If you want to know more information, you need to catch this person and interrogate him in person. Now, the camera comes to a building 700 meters away from Nobita's house. How was it possible? All missed the target. It happened at the wrong time. The person who spoke was the pink-haired woman who was shooting at Nobita's house. This person is called Sasha. He is a member of another mercenary team of Umbrella. He was originally sent to investigate the data of the improved hunter, but I didn't expect to run into Nobita and the others. Although he was a sniper, his shooting skills were rubbish. He missed the first few shots, but Izuki and Nobita put clothes on a dummy and used it as a target for her, but she still didn't hit it with a single shot. This is very abstract. Post views 35. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 082082. Nobita and his friends were captured, and Fat Tiger was beaten up Conan World. After seeing Sasha's shooting skills in the picture, Akai Shuichi couldn't help but frown, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. He couldn't even hit a motionless target. This is a bit too bad. You told me that he was a sniper. It seems that the threshold of this Umbrella sniper is really low. Bear Haunt World, what kind of shooting skill is this? Bald King couldn't stand it anymore and looked at Sasha in the picture with contempt. It's Kang's turn, and he hits the target. Cough, cough, but I won't do such a bad thing. Not only did he miss a single shot, but he also exposed his position. Deki drew the curtains to interfere with the enemy's vision, and the group prepared to move towards the building where Sasha was. Because he had experience dodging sniper rifles before, Nobita took the initiative to attack and used his skillful movement to consume the opponent's bullets. After a while, the gunfire stopped. Then, Nobita quickly called on his companions to pursue the victory. As expected, the enemy's bullets should have been used up. On the other side, Sasha saw the enemy approaching step by step and began to prepare for a counterattack in the building. Nobita and his group also started to act according to Daxiong's plan. Fat Tiger and his duo were stationed at the emergency exit. Doraemon and Sena were in charge of the main entrance, and Nobita and Daxiong were exploring the interior. Just when Nobita was about to start exploring, a black and red hunter jumped out from the side and rushed toward the two of them. Damn it! Nobita was startled and was about to fight back. But after walking a few steps, there was a sudden explosion. The two were shocked and thought it was a new type of self-destructing monster. However, Izuku realized that the explosion was caused by a door nearby, perhaps a weapon like a half-bomb. Tell Nobita to be careful as expected. Nobita found half-mines in many places, and because of carelessness, he stepped on a loose mine. Fortunately, Izuki is very knowledgeable and uses the items around him to resolve the problems one by one. Hualin Fei, I remember you mentioned before that this Chu Mushin was an undercover agent. The more I look at it, the less he seems like it. If he was really an undercover agent, he wouldn't have been sniped by that guy, and he would have had many opportunities to kill Nobita. Miao Qiaojuan touched his chin and looked at Hualin Fei with suspicion. Suddenly, Hualin Fei was stunned, and at the same time, he secretly complained in his heart. This little fat boy has a good memory. He still remembers it now. Hualin Fei laughed dryly and scratched his head. Maybe I guessed wrong at that time. After all, it was just said casually, and I remember you seemed to support it at the time. Really, Miao Qiaojuan denied it. He didn't. As the two were exploring the third floor, Sasha suddenly came out from the door, and Nobita greeted Sasha, said something incomprehensible, then shot the two men and ran away. Are you speaking Martian? Nobita was confused, not knowing what the guy in front of him was saying. But because of his poor shooting skills, he missed the two. I understand. This Sasha is here to make people laugh. Zhang Chuan suddenly said, that makes sense. Hearing this, Su Sin nodded and said, I always feel that Sasha is stupid. Not to mention that his shooting skills are bad. His brain doesn't seem to work very well either. Su Si put his hands on his head and said, Isn't Umbrella a world-class company? How could they recruit such a funny guy? I'm afraid he got in through connections. Sasha ran to the emergency exit, but the building was watched closely by several people all around, and Sasha was finally caught by them. Although Sasha is a foreigner, she can speak many languages. Several people tied her up and asked her for information. Damushin, why did you make our town like this? Hearing Damushin's question, Sasha said directly, I don't know. At this time, Fat Tiger couldn't suppress his anger because Nobita was almost shot just now, and he went up to Sasha and punched and kicked her. Xiaofu hurriedly tried to stop him. Stop, Fat Tiger! But Fat Tiger roared, Get out of here. Don't stop me. It's all because of you. Home, Mom, and Anxiong. While roaring, he punched Sasha hard one after another. Fat Tiger would not hold back just because the other party was a woman. Although he was just a child, Fat Tiger's damage was very high, and Sasha's bones were almost broken by Fat Tiger. Zombie world, oh my god, so fierce. Bai Xiaofei was dumbfounded. He thought Nobita was already very powerful, but this Fat Tiger was no worse. He was not weak like an ordinary child at all, but if he was weak, he probably wouldn't be alive today. Listening to the sound of punches hitting his body, Bai Xiaofei's teeth chattered. He felt pain all over his body. After all, Fat Tiger's flesh was not grown in vain. He was very strong. At this time, Sheng suddenly ran in with some documents. There's also a photo of a group of people laughing. Sasha then told them that they had been targeted by Umbrella and a bounty was issued for each of them. Fat Tiger got even more angry when he heard this and knocked Sasha unconscious with another punch. Knowing that the situation was not good, several people planned to escape from Taiyuan City through the sewers. Fat Tiger and Sunio were worried that Nobita would run to the front again, so they rushed to explore rashly and encountered danger. Finally, he was rescued by Nobita. It has to be said that after such a long period of training, Nobita has become the strongest force in the team. Although I encountered many monsters along the way, but several people finally fled Taiyuan City and went to a new place. The camera returns to the UBC's team again because during a mission, the person who needed to be rescued had died and the mission failed. The team was assigned an urgent mission to go to Taiyuan City to search for the missing USS members, which was Sasha's team. The research data he had was very helpful to the company, but he suddenly lost contact with the company a while ago. For this purpose, the company arranged a contact person in Dongjing. The group set off on a plane, and they also set a lot of goals. Tisk TSK. Lu Xiaohua shook his head and waved the feather fan in his hand. They dare to raise a flag. These guys are really not afraid of death. Hearing Lu Xiaohua's words, Pineapple Blowing Snow and Orange Liuxiong beside him were full of question marks. What do you mean, Lu Xiaohua? Chung Liuxiong asked first. Lu Xiaohua looked at the two of them and said, Haven't you heard that you shouldn't make random promises? Hearing this, Pineapple Blowing Snow and Chung Liuxiong both shook their heads. Hey, Lu Xiaohua sighed and said no more. This was not easy to explain. After meeting with Torishima, bring your equipment, the whole team took action at night when all creatures had gone into hibernation. They found the building where Sasha was and rescued her. After asking, I learned that the information was actually taken away by Nobita and his group. This guy let me kill her. Suddenly, someone couldn't help but want to kill Sasha on the spot. But there was no order yet, so he could only hand Sasha over to Torichai to discuss the next battle plan. Torishia has received news that Nobita and his team handed the information to the police station and the media. Fortunately, there are people inside the company who can trust them, so the news was successfully cut off and not made public. Someone also provided them with the hiding place of Nobita and his group, and the next step was to capture them one by one. Seeing this, Many people were not surprised. After all, how could Umbrella, as a large-scale enterprise that can be called a hegemon, be overthrown so easily by Nobita and a few children? Even though they have the key evidence in their hands, it is useless. For a behemoth like Umbrella, Nobita and a few people alone are still too small to make any big waves. Therefore, most people do not have any hope for Nobita and his friends, let alone overthrowing Umbrella. Now it seems that whether they can escape Umbrella's pursuit and revenge is another matter. Resident Evil World, hey. Seeing this, Alice sighed softly. Although she was unwilling, the development of things was not beyond her expectations. As a world that also broke out with the zombie virus, and with many similarities to Nobita's world, Alice knew very well that it was simply a pipe dream for Nobita and his men to fight back with the so-called evidence. First, arrest the girl who is traveling alone, and then ask for the whereabouts of the others. Although doing so makes one feel guilty, this is the only solution at the moment. Feel guilty? Seeing this, everyone couldn't help but curl their lips and were speechless. You know, the reason why zombies are rampant in that world now is because of the T-virus leak, and the T-virus was developed by Umbrella. This also means that the outbreak of the zombie virus is completely related to Umbrella, and these Umbrella members, who are also accomplices, are now saying that they have a guilty conscience. It seems a bit ironic. On the street, Shingna and Shizuka were about to return to the base, and several members of the UBCS team surrounded them from the side. Shizuka was dragged directly into the car, and Shingna quickly escaped from the side path. Followed by others when they came to a corner, Estes suddenly got out of the car and attacked Xingnai unexpectedly. Saint Nai's fighting power exploded, causing Esta to be childless. After a long chase, Xingnai fled to a wide street. After seeing Niao Chai, Xingnai hurriedly asked for help. But what Xingnai didn't know was, my actions are completely controlled. After Tori Chai scared away the people who controlled Xingnai, he began to use tricks to ask about the whereabouts of Nobita and others. After getting the information, Tori Chai took out the stun gun and knocked down Xingnai. The arrest was successful. On the radio, Lisingurski also admired Tori Chai's method. Although doing so made several people feel guilty, one team member, Li Shicha, said that since starting this job, everyone is no longer considered a human being. See your world. I didn't expect that Li Shicha is quite self-aware. Tian nodded, and then said unhappily, he is obviously a bad guy, but it's really annoying to say that he has a guilty conscience. To be a bad guy, you must have the determination to be a bad guy. Doraemon world, that guy too cunning. Fat Tiger clenched his fist and looked at the screen unhappily. It's really shameless to use such a despicable method to deal with a few children. Sunio couldn't help but say. Nobita frowned and said, this is bad. Those guys have discovered our whereabouts in the picture, but we know nothing about it. This kind of enemy is in the dark, and we are in the light. It's difficult to deal with it. Well, we can only wait and see what they can do. We can't rush into the light curtain to save them. Doraemon spread his hands. They're just bystanders now. But the most important thing now is to seize other goals. 4 hours later, it was getting dark. The team also came to the apartment where Nobita and his group lived. Because Shingna Shizuka has not returned yet, Nobita and his friends speculate that they may have met with an accident. Just as I was about to go out to look for him, someone suddenly rang the doorbell. Dekisu suddenly had a bad feeling. Nobita went to answer the door, and Torashiba lied to Nobita that he was a courier. After some deception, Nobita opened the door. Zombie world, no. Seeing that Nobita actually opened the door in the picture by Xiaofei was already numb. This is too much. It's already the zombie apocalypse. And you tell me that someone will deliver food? Xiaolu tilted his head and said, Uncle, it was said before that Nobita and his friends have already escaped. Maybe other cities have not been infected by zombies yet. I saw that when Xingna and Shizuka were on the street, there were many people. Is that so? Bai Xiaofei was stunned for a moment. He didn't pay much attention to it. However, if it was really as Xiaolu said, then it was understandable. Although Izuki already felt something was wrong, Nobita. But before he could react, a flash bomb was thrown directly into the door, and then a group of people rushed in at lightning speed and controlled the three people. Even Doraemon was subdued and taken to the truck. All the targets have been captured and will be sent to the company for processing in a few days. Sasha vented her anger on Fat Tiger Bang. 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 Fist fell on Fat Tiger one after another snort. Sasha snorted and said, "How dare you hit me then?" Fortunately, he was immediately stopped by other members. "Stop it, Sasha. What are you doing to the children?" Doraemon Universe. Nobita's home, asshole. Although it wasn't me who was beaten, it was me in the parallel world. A guy with such poor marksmanship was so arrogant. Fat Tiger was immediately furious. After all, in his eyes, Sasha was just a stupid fool. But now, he was beaten by a fool. Naruto world. Boruto switched timelines. Seeing this scene, Sasuke shook his head. If Nobita and the others had been a little more ruthless and killed Sasha directly, perhaps these things could have been avoided. After all, they were still a group of children. If it was him, he would definitely cut it with a knife and send Sasha to reincarnation. Post views 32. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 083. In the desperate moment, teammates died one after another. In a light curtain, after catching Nobita and the others, the mission was completed and they were ready to relax. But Niao Chai suddenly received a letter. In order to protect the information from being leaked, Umbrella prepared to spread the modified virus over the city. That being said, the real purpose may be to experiment with the virus's effects and spread. The UBC's team was also used as a sacrifice. Zombie World. Seeing how it unfold, Bai Xiaofei couldn't help but smack his lips. This Umbrella is too cruel. Even the employees who fought for their company were abandoned directly. Some of them are too inhumane. However, he thought again, if this Umbrella really had so-called humanity, it would probably not spread any virus. Fox Demon World, oh my god. Bai Yuechu was stunned. He never expected that Umbrella Corporation was so inhumane. There are still many normal people in this town. They actually use living people to experiment on viruses. Doing such a heinous thing. Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? This guy is really brave. Although I can't believe that I have become an abandoned person, it is best to find a safe place to take refuge now. People coming and going on the street, there were several more helicopters in the sky for no reason. Although people noticed it, they were busy with their own affairs and didn't pay attention. Suddenly, a white light flashed across the screen. Roar! Fires were everywhere, screams and zombies' roars of 487 came one after another. The streets are full of zombies that eat people. The town that was once full of human smell has turned into a hell on earth. Seeing this scene, all the righteous people in the heavens and the worlds could not sit still. Demon Slayer World. In the Pure Land, a huge rage suddenly rose on Tsugumi Yurichi's calm face. He stared at the people who had turned into zombies in the picture, and his heart was like a knife. At this moment, his whole body exuded a cold and murderous aura. If the Demon King Musen was here, he would probably be very familiar with this aura, because he saw Tsugumi Yurichi's aura at the beginning, and then he was almost hacked to death with a knife. It's just that, compared to that time, Tsugumi Yurichi's anger was even worse at this time. So many innocent people suffered for a mere experiment. What on earth do those guys regard life as? The last sentence, Jigwe Yuani couldn't help but roared. Since Musen, he hasn't been as angry as he is now for a long time. If it weren't impossible otherwise, he would have rushed into the light curtain and directly found that Umbrella to let them know that life cannot be desecrated. Seer World, so brutal. Allison and Zog were both stunned. Zog touched his head and looked stupidly at the Bostine. Bostine, compared with Umbrella, we space pirates don't seem to be that bad guys. That's right. Allison nodded quickly. This Umbrella is much worse than us. They actually used live people to operate. Dean didn't say much, but looked at the screen calmly. The video on the screen continued to play Nobita, Sasha, and his group hid in the underground warehouse for 3 days. Because there are too many people, we can hardly get enough food and water. Lisingursky decided to escape from this place. But because of the language barrier, Taichi acted as a translator and explained to Nobita and his friends. Everyone agreed to flee from this place, because now that there are more people, the chances of survival will be much greater. Nobita and the others were also very powerful, and Sasha simply joined the UBCS team. But before leaving, Torasher suddenly said that he forgot to take something, so he asked Nobita and the others to go first. Zhang Chulan gently touched his chin, looking thoughtful. Then he pointed at the bird in the picture and said, "This guy seems to be not simple. He didn't take it earlier or later, but had to take it before leaving. I smell a conspiracy." Su Si smiled and said, "You were born in the year of the dog, so you have such a keen nose. But Chulan thinks the same as I do. This girl is definitely weird." Su-san sighed and said, "I just hope she doesn't make trouble. I still want Nobita's group of children to survive." On the street, at this moment, it has completely become a paradise for zombies. But because they were all ordinary zombies, several people successfully broke through, but there was no sign of Taichi. Singulski was waiting beside a car. Niao Chai was walking towards him from a distance, but she was seriously injured. Every step she took left a pool of blood under her footsteps, which was shocking. It turns out that Torashiba took some research materials from Umbrella and wanted to save a child before leaving, but was bitten by a zombie. I hope Lisingurski can help her get rid of it and give him the information. Seeing this, everyone was relieved, but also felt a little guilty. At first, they thought that Taichi must have some conspiracy to change his mind at the last minute, just like Zhang Chulan. I didn't expect that she actually went to get Umbrella's information and even got bitten by a zombie to save child. This means that if there is no antibody, she will be assimilated into a zombie in no time. But in this kind of place, there is no possibility of antibodies or the like. Although they have only been together for a few days, the two have already recognized each other as companions. Although she felt very uncomfortable, Lisingurski also understood that turning Torashiba into a zombie would be a torture for her. So, he still shot to help Taichi free meet up with others and escape together. After escaping successfully, everyone began to plan a deal with Umbrella, sneaking into the Institute and stealing bacteria and virus information to the government through the clues given by Taichi. Several people determined the location of the Research Institute on a heavily guarded, isolated island. After allocating the combat power to the 4 places, several people began to act. Nobita, Fat Tiger, and Saika sneaked into the water cave. Zombie World, seeing this, Bai Xiaofei could also guess that in Nobita's world, the zombie virus should not have spread as widely as in his world. In his world, basically every part of the world is infected by zombies, and the human government is also in danger. In the picture, Nobita's world is a little better. However, after thinking about it, Bai Xiaofei felt that the level of technology in Nobita's world should be higher than theirs. After all, there are even time machines, and children can get grenade launchers. Resisting zombies should not be a big problem. And the most important point is that the zombies on Nobita's side seem to be only average in strength, unlike his side, where the zombies can be said to be monsters, one more outrageous than the other. It even feels like they can't be called zombies, but more like another terrifying species with high intelligence. In the light curtain, a group of people came to a secret room in a building. There seems to be a lot of virus research data here, but the others who followed closely behind came with the injured Yanov on their backs. Because he accidentally alerted the guards on the way, Yanov's leg was seriously injured and he could not move. And a large group of zombies are attacking this side. The situation is very critical. Nobita and others hurried to find medical supplies, but the zombies moved too fast, so Sasha could only take Nobita to defend first. Seeing that the number of zombies was increasing, and there were even a lot of biological weapons mixed in, there are many more that even Nobita has never seen before. It seems that Umbrella's research on viruses is more in-depth than he imagined. The two could only keep retreating on the other side. The seriously injured Yanov also knew that he was dying, so he asked everyone to escape first, and he took the weapon to cover the inside of the building. Although everyone wanted to take Yanov with them, the number and speed of the enemy did not allow them to do so. Otherwise, I'm afraid the whole army will be wiped out. Nexus World. looking at everyone in the picture who seemed to have a sense of sacrifice. Ikikamen couldn't help, but his eyes turned red. He suddenly thought of Mr. G. Shizhuan. Mr. G. Shizhuan is also such a person. Resident Evil World. Seeing this scene, Leon couldn't help but give a thumbs up to Yanov. This Yanov is a man. In the light curtain, no choice. Everyone retreated first when the ammunition of several people ran out. Yanov. He killed a group of hunters with a rocket, helped the rest escape, and then took his last breath. Team leader, I'll take care of the rest. After saying this, the seriously injured Yanov slowly closed his eyes. For a moment, everyone mourned, although Yanov initially worked for Umbrella. But it is undeniable that he is a hero with flesh and blood and worthy of admiration. At the same time, many people understand the cruelty of the facts. The sacrifice of several team members can only increase the possibility of the success of Nobita's plan. It can even be said that more team members will be sacrificed later. Another companion was lost, but Esta also cracked some data in the Institute. Umbrella also has a biological weapons research facility in Hokkaido. The next goal is to infiltrate and seize intelligence, destroy the facility as much as possible, and then spread all the information about the injured. No matter what means are used, Umbrella's conspiracy must be uncovered. Resident Evil World. A glimmer of hope rose in Alice's eyes. Could it be that Nobita and his team can really bring down Umbrella? Publish all the heinous crimes committed by this company. But there is still a lack of a means of transportation, so Nobita contacted Ing. To its conclusion, a two-car after learning what Nobita was going to do. Although he wanted to stop it, it was too dangerous after all. But Nobita was very determined, and Taiying had no choice but to hand the car over to Nobita. A group of people drove to the Commercial Weapons Research Institute. The security here was much stricter than other places, and all kinds of armored vehicles, weapons, and ammunition were available. After a lot of effort, they were finally discovered by the guards who sounded the alarm, so they had no choice but to rush in. Nobita and his group were waiting on another road, but a hunter attacked them, and they had to flee in all directions. Saika and others came to the facility and solved the problem. The people on the first floor, unexpectedly, the researchers directly released biological weapons to deal with several people. But Saika and his men were even better, and they went straight to the ammunition depot, ready to do some damage. Elsewhere, Sasha and Esta encountered a chariot, and the two sides continued to stalemate. Sasha threw a smoke bomb to disrupt the enemy's vision. Esta took the opportunity to install the bomb and detonate the tank. Boom! With a loud explosion, the sturdy chariot was instantly covered in fire. The plan went smoothly. Just as the two were about to leave, there was actually an enemy surviving in the tank, so he adjusted the gun barrel and fired directly at the two men. Sasha reacted quickly and dodged to the side, but Esta didn't react and was hit by the shell. The surrounding buildings also collapsed, crushing Esta underneath. When Saika and his companions arrived, they only saw the enemy's corpses and countless rubble. Everyone took a deep breath. In just a short while, another member of the team was gone. This time, 3 members have been lost. Huolin Fei smacked his lips and said in a hoarse voice, "This is too scary. Now 1 more person is missing. Could it be that only Nobita and his friend survive in the finale?" Miao Qiaojuan shook his head. "Maybe you can think a little more ruthlessly. What if Nobita and his friends don't all survive?" When he thought of this situation, Huolin Fei couldn't help but shudder and turn to look at his teammates. Compared with Nobita and the others, they were much better. Although they were often beaten by the enemy and couldn't win when they wanted to use Mouth 0.0 escape, at least they were still alive. Digimon World, how terrible. Even Taichi felt a chill down his spine after seeing the team members die one after another. After all, he was just a child. Death was a bit too heavy for him. Although he was also frightened, he still said coldly, "It's what he deserves." If that woman named Sasha had reminded him, he probably wouldn't have been hit by the shell. That woman just wanted to save her own life, and probably didn't care about the lives of other team members at all. After saying this, Koshiro didn't even look at him and directly retorted, "The shells were already fired at us, and we were lucky to react." There was no time to remind them. If we said one more word, the shells might hit us in the face. Can you easily react to the cannonballs? Tai patted Guang Zilong on the shoulder and said, Guang Zilong, don't bother with this guy. He's just talking nonsense. Yeah. Guang Zilong nodded. He and Tai have a very good relationship. You guys just wait. You'll be in trouble in the real world. He suddenly felt ashamed and roared in frustration. However, he had already lost his dignity. The picture on the screen continued to play. Once again, losing a member of his team, Lisingurski lost his mind and tried to dig Esta out of the rubble. He yelled as if possessed. Hey, where are you, Esta? Didn't I promise to buy you a drink? Esta, where are you? Answer me. Post views. 402. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 084084. Nobita's death, the annihilation of the entire army, and the perfect ending in the light curtain. Saika Sasha used some extraordinary means and tried his best to persuade him to stay. Continuing forward, several people blocked a researcher who was about to drive away and snatched the modified T-virus from him. Nobita and his team found this place safely. Most of his team members died, but everyone in Nobita's team was safe, which made Lisingurski feel very unbalanced. Doraemon Universe. Nobita's home, damn it. Fat Tiger frowned and clenched his hands tightly. What does this guy mean? Is he not satisfied until a few of our companions die? Xiaofu also clasped his hands together. That's right, besides, we obviously lost Xiong. How can this guy think like this? Well, Doraemon stepped out to smooth things over. Anyway, he was just complaining. His teammates died, so he must be in a bad mood. Please be understanding. Umph. Fat Tiger and Sunio snorted coldly and didn't say anything else. But there was no time to think about it, and several people hurriedly drove away. The camera comes to the other side. Li Shicha, who was covering outside, died in battle because he encountered too many hunters and was unable to cope with them. It's been a while since I joined the team. Another one sacrificed. Kara also felt sorry for him. It was so despairing to see her teammates die one after another. Hey, the doctor sighed. It is indeed the end of the world. Human life is worthless. I just hope that no one will be sacrificed in the future. But Lisingurski didn't want to leave just like that. He wanted to wait a little longer. He believed that Lishicha would definitely arrive. But the reality is always cruel, and time is running out. Nobita and his companions were also very anxious, because if they continued to drag on, the pursuers would catch up, and then they would not be able to escape. Then the sacrifices of the previous teammates will become worthless. After some persuasion from Sasha 24, they decided to leave. However, misfortunes never come singly. The car ran out of gas halfway through the journey. We were still a long way from our destination, so we had to walk. At this time, several people saw something in the distance running towards them at high speed. When I looked closely, it turned out to be the tyrant. Lisingurski ordered Sega to take the rest of the people away first, while Nobita and Sasha stayed behind to help hold back the tyrant. Doraemon Universe. Seeing this, Nobita Tamako was shocked. He actually let his son do such a dangerous thing again. Although this is only Nobita in a parallel world, she doesn't want to see him in any danger. But she can only watch and can't do anything. Nobita, you must be safe. Nobita Tamako clasped her hands together and prayed silently in her heart. In the light curtain, with the cooperation of Nobita and Sasha, they finally managed to defeat the tyrant. But then another group of hunters will surround them. Saika and others came back to help, and together they knocked down many of the attacking hunters. However, the number of monsters did not decrease, but became more and more as time went by. For a moment, despair enveloped everyone present. It's no use, we're going to die here. Xiaofu shouted in despair. Hearing this, Fat Tiger quickly retorted, Shut up, Xiaofu. Don't give up so easily. Just when everyone was distracted, the hunter jumped out from the bottom of the river and attacked Nobita. Nobita. Izuki was startled and suddenly reacted. Next, he quickly turned around, swung the shotgun, and fired at the hunter to help Nobita. Bang! 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 After a few shots, the hunter was killed, but the scattered bullets hit the fuel tank of the car. The vehicle exploded, and the rest of the people died on the spot. Only Sokka, Lisingurski, Sanai, and Sasha are left. In an instant, everyone in the universe felt as if their heads were hit hard. They never expected that things would turn out this way. In just a blink of an eye, almost everyone died. What's the point of playing this? Doraemon Universe. Nobita's home. At this moment, Nobita and the others were all stunned, staring at the screen with their eyes wide open. After a long time, Nobita was the first to react and send to daze us all dead. Gurgle, Fat Tiger, swallowed his saliva, then hammered the floor hard. How can I give up? I didn't expect the ending to be like this. I really can't accept it, even though it has come this far. Sunio was also very discouraged. Yeah, I really can't accept it. Although it is another world, I just feel so uncomfortable. Nobita lowered his head. I'm sorry, this is all my fault. If I hadn't been attacked by the hunter in the picture, what are you talking about, Nobita? Fat Tiger frowned and shouted to Nobita. This is not your fault. It's that damn hunter. How could we just watch you die? Doraemon and Shizuka also shook their heads. In order to ease the atmosphere, Doraemon spoke again. Don't be discouraged. At least not all of us were wiped out. Aren't Xingnai and the others still alive? As soon as these words came out, the room suddenly fell silent. Oh my God! Bai Xiaofei stared at the screen with his eyes wide open. Looking at the bodies lying on the ground in disorder, Bai Xiaofei felt his scalp tingling. Damn, it happened so suddenly that almost the entire army was wiped out. Shouldn't Nobita be the protagonist? Why did he die? What happened? The little deer who was licking a lollipop beside him saw this scene and suddenly burst into tears. Uncle, Nobita, and the others are all dead. Woo-woo. Bai Xiaofei had no choice but to hold the little deer in his arms and comforted him. Little deer, don't cry. Brother Nobita and the others will be resurrected later. The novel was taken from the Rala's website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. Hearing this, the little deer immediately raised its head and looked at Bai Xiaofei in a daze. Uncle, is it true? It's fake. Of course, Bai Xiaofei only said this in his heart and said, of course it's true. When has Uncle ever lied to you? Oh my God, this is impossible. Pigsy was stunned for a moment. He really didn't expect that it felt like the end was coming soon, but suddenly almost everyone died. In the end, he was not bitten to death by zombies, but was blown to death by a car explosion. Hey, Pigsy sighed deeply. He never thought something like this would happen. The scene on the screen continued to play. I've had enough. Lisingurski could no longer suppress the grief in his heart and let out a cry of grief. At the same time, because of the explosion, his vision was blurry, and a hunter came forward and killed him. Just as he was about to attack Xingnai, Sai Ka, who was standing by, used up his last breath to kill the hunter, and he himself fell to the ground due to his serious injuries. Unexpectedly, a hunter appeared and attacked Xingnai. Sasha picked up a grenade and rushed forward, blocking the attack for Xingnai and killing the hunter at the same time. Xingnai rushed forward to check on Sasha's injuries, and Sasha told Xingnai that the research data on the virus was still in another car. He told Xingnai to take the information and flee the place as soon as possible, and then he passed away. Xingnai was left alone, collapsing on the ground in despair in an instant. Everyone died, leaving only Xingnai. No, the desperate cries, filled with grief, kept echoing in the picture. Soon after, Umbrella lost its credibility due to the inside story being exposed, leading to bankruptcy and disappearing from this world. Although I don't know whether the information collected by Nobita and his friends was useful, they finally defeated Umbrella. Was Umbrella defeated? Alice was slightly startled, as if she couldn't believe that such a world-class company was brought down by the power of Nobita and his men alone. When Alice thought of the price she had paid, she shook her head, and a trace of grief also appeared in her eyes. Almost all of her companions were sacrificed, and only one, Xingnai, survived. The price she paid was too high. This also made Alice think of the companions who had sacrificed along the way, and she felt a pain in her heart. On the star, how come? Kara covered her mouth, her face pale with surprise. I didn't expect that Shungnai was the only one who survived in the end. That's terrible. Almost everyone died. In order to defeat Umbrella, Nobita and his team paid a huge price. Even the doctor was moved. Umbrella really deserves death. Not only did it kill many innocent lives, but even Nobita and his team died on the way to fight against it. Impossible. Mr. Nobita is dead. Atiera's pupils shrank, and his double blades fell to the ground. He stared blankly at the light curtain. Xiaozhi clenched his fists. Damn Umbrella. If it weren't for them, the world wouldn't have become like this. The future of Nobita and his children will definitely not be like this. Kalyulu clenched her hands. In the end, only Miss Shungnai survived, but for her, surviving seems to be more painful than dying. But the light curtain did not end, and soon another line of text appeared on it. Ending 2. Seeing this, everyone who was still immersed in sadness was stunned. Ending 2? Does this mean that there's not only one ending? Maybe there is another ending. For a moment, everyone tried their best to calm down and continued to look at the light curtain. Similar to the first death ending, this ending is still on the way out. The car ran out of gas halfway through, and there was still a long way to go to the destination, but the tyrant still appeared and attacked Nobita and his companions. But in this ending, Esta did not die under the bombardment, but stayed with Nobita, Sasha, and Lysengorsky to deal with the tyrant. Here, after several battles, the relationship between the group has become very good, and they have become partners who can be trusted. Asta and Sasha went to the commanding heights to provide cover, while Nobita and Lysengorsky faced off against the tyrant head-on. Just when they finally managed to knock down the tyrant, another group of hunters attacked them just like before. Saika and others came back to help, and together they knocked down many of the hunters who attacked. But the number of monsters did not decrease at all. Just when everyone was distracted, a hunter jumped out of the river and attacked Nobita. Izuku was about to shoot to help Nobita, but the hunter was suddenly shot dead. It turned out that Li Shicha arrived from behind. Although he was surrounded by 510 hunters before, Li Shicha was different from the first ending. He still managed to fight his way out. Behind them, Toraishur and Shizuka drove over. Tarishi's driving skills were quite violent, and he killed many hunters along the way. Several people finally escaped death. Then, all members survived and left the bridge. Umbrella also disappeared from the world because of bankruptcy. Soon after, Nobita and his group said goodbye to Sega and his group at the airport. After defeating Umbrella, everyone had new goals and plans. Everyone will forget the past and start a new life. At this point, the picture finally dimmed. Doraemon Universe Call. After seeing this ending, Nobita and his friends finally breathed a sigh of relief. Compared to the last ending, where everyone was destroyed, this ending couldn't be better. Not only did they escape from there alive, but everyone survived, and Umbrella was still defeated. But why are there two endings? Although it was very comfortable to watch, Nobita touched his chin and asked with some confusion. Doraemon explained, because every choice you make will create a new parallel world. So there are many other parallel universes, and perhaps the Nobita in some parallel universes has been determined by the corpse. Well, I don't quite understand what you're saying. Nobita touched his head, feeling a little confused. Who cares? Fat Tiger put his arm around Nobita's shoulder. Anyway, all I know is that it has to be an ending that makes me happy. Shizuka frowned. Why did I only appear at the end? I wasn't even in the first ending. I had so few parts. Fruity Robo World. I didn't expect there are two endings. Pineapple Blowing Snow was slightly surprised. He was still very sad, but after seeing this perfect ending, his mood suddenly improved a lot. The second ending is so wonderful. Not only did everyone survive, but they also defeated Umbrella. It's so wonderful that it seems a little unreal to me. Chung Liuxiang felt a little dazed. After all, compared with the first ending, the second ending was really like the ending in a fairy tale world. The video has ended. Characters being cleared. Rewards are being cleared. In the Doraemon universe, Nobita and Nobi received a reward. The gate beyond time and space. Similar to the Anywhere door, it can travel between different places, but unlike the Anywhere door, The gate beyond time and space will not be limited by distance or plane. That is, you can travel freely in other planes or other parallel universes. But like the Anywhere door, if you want to travel between different time and space planes, you need the specific coordinates of that plane. The gate beyond time and space will automatically record the time and space coordinates of 1,000 light years around the gate. Post views 44. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 085085, Nobita's other nickname, Sun Wukong. After seeing this reward, all the living beings in the heavens and the worlds were stunned. Then, a fanatic look appeared in their eyes. The gate of transcendence of time and space is definitely a rare artifact. It can even travel back and forth between different planes. Doesn't this mean that Nobita can even come to their plane in the future? This reward is really horrible. I have to be more careful with my words in the future, lest Nobita comes to my world and beats me up. You idiot, they won't know what you said in your world, and they don't have the coordinates of your world. Yes, but I don't know the coordinates of my world. Anyway, it's better to be careful. At the same time, in the Doraemon universe, at Nobita's home, Nobita and the others were stunned as they looked at the white door that suddenly appeared in front of them, as if it was a dream or a mist. 1,000 light years, much more powerful than the Anywhere door. Dory smacked his lips and felt his throat a little hoarse. You know, the range of his Anywhere door is only about 10 light years, while this transcendence of time and space gate is a full 1,000 light years, which is completely overwhelming the Anywhere door. It can even transcend different time and space planes, which is a function that the Anywhere door does not have. Overall, this transcendence of time and space gate is simply a super pro upgraded version of the Anywhere door. Doraemon, you said that with this time-space gate, can we go to the zombie crisis world in the picture? Nobita's eyes lit up and he looked straight at Doraemon, his face full of expectation. Hearing this, Doraemon came back to his senses and nodded. Theoretically, it should be possible, but we still need the coordinates of that parallel world. But the problem is that we don't know it. Nobita sighed. So there's no way to go in a short time. On the planet Glacier. After seeing the introduction of the gate beyond time and space, Kara's eyes lit up. If Nobita and the others could come to the planet Glacier, with the power of Nobita and the others, the ice storm giant should be easily solved. Thinking of this, she turned to look at the doctor and said urgently, Doctor, you know the coordinates of our planet Glacier. How about letting Nobita and the others come to our planet? Then the problem will be solved. Cough, cough. The doctor coughed and blushed. I don't know the coordinates of our planet. And even if I knew, I wouldn't know how to tell Nobita and the others. That's right. Kara frowned. Things didn't seem as simple as she thought. Who on earth is behind this light curtain? They even have such a heaven-defying prop, and they gave it to my great-grandfather like this. It's really generous. Sharpshooter took a breath and sighed at the generosity of the light curtain. The gate that transcends time and space is completely beyond the ability of their current technology to create. In other words, the civilization behind this light curtain must be much more advanced than their Earth. Suddenly, the light curtain lit up again. A new inventory video has begun. Check out Nobi's titles. Sun Wukong. In human world, huh? Am I seeing things, Sun Wukong? Zhang Chuan felt as if his head was hit by a heavy hammer, and he was a little confused. He could never imagine that Sun Wukong would be a title of Nobita. Isn't this a joke? Sun Wukong, the one who made trouble in heaven. That's not right. Isn't that a character from Journey to the West? How did he become Nobita? Susi asked with a puzzled expression while cracking melon seeds. Susan frowned. It's really weird, or maybe this Sun Wukong is not what we imagined. Dragon Ball World. Bulma and Chi-Chi looked at Wukong beside them with confusion, and after a while, they asked in confusion. Nobita's nickname is also Wukong. What is the relationship between the two of you? Sun Wukong touched his head and answered decisively. I don't know. Sun Wukong, isn't that the monkey who went to the west with Tang Monk and Journey to the West? How did it become Nobita's title? Xiaoyu widened her eyes, not quite understanding. Long also touched his chin and said, Nobita and the others should be from Sakura. How could it be Sun Wukong? Besides, Sun Wukong is just a fictional character in the novel. This is really weird. Long shook his head, still unable to figure out the reason. Not to mention other people, even Nobita himself was confused at this time. He pointed at himself and stammered, I am Sun Wukong. Sunio was confused. What a joke. Sun Wukong is just a fictional character. How can Nobita be Sun Wukong? Shizuka also nodded, feeling that this was unrealistic. Maybe there is some misunderstanding. What? Sun Wukong is real. But Nobita suddenly shouted that he believed that there must be Sun Wukong in the world. For a moment, everyone was speechless, but no one said much, because after seeing Nobita's title this time, they couldn't guarantee that Sun Wukong didn't exist. Soon, doubt, confusion, expectation, curiosity under the gazes of all kinds, the video began to play. A big mountain appeared in the picture, with 3 big characters Huagua Mountain engraved on it. Boom! Then a bolt of lightning struck down, and a monkey wearing red armor and holding a golden cudgel suddenly jumped out. It was obviously Sun Wukong. For a moment, everyone was shocked, because this Sun Wukong looks so much like Nobita. Could it be that Nobita is really Sun Wukong? Everyone can't help but think of not only Nobita and Sun Wukong, but also monsters like Fat Tiger and Sunio appeared, but the most exaggerated, the Tathagata Buddha, still looks like Doraemon. Although he looks like Doraemon, the two of them still staged the classic scene of, you can escape from my palm. Then Nobita Wukong began to travel through the universe, and finally stopped in front of a white planet. He took out a pen from under his body and drew a simple picture of Doraemon on it. But a familiar laughter echoed in Nobita's ears. That white ball is not a planet at all, but Dora's palm. That's it, no doubt. Nobita was trapped under the 5-Finger Mountain and had to wait for Tang Sanzang for 500 years. Soon after, Daxiong, who was sleeping under the 5-Finger Mountain, was awakened by a gentle voice. When she opened her eyes, she saw Shizuka dressed as Sanzang. When the scene got to this point, all the viewers who had watched Journey to the West were stunned. Nanny, it's not just Nobita. There are us too. Sunio's eyes widened, staring at the screen in disbelief. What kind of plot is unfolding? What? Why is Nobita the Monkey King? I am a monster. Fat Tiger was very unhappy. He obviously wanted to be the Monkey King. Doraemon smiled and said, I am the Buddha. That's good enough. I am Tang Sanzang. Shizuka was startled. Shouldn't Tang Sanzang be a man? How come he became me? What the hell is this? Hualin Fei and the others were all dumbfounded. Was this the Journey to the West he had watched? Hey, how come Tang Sanzang turned into a girl? And he looks like Shizuka. This is too ridiculous. Miao Qiaojuan couldn't accept it. He had clearly read in a book before that Tang Sanzang should be a burly man. No, I need to take it slow. Is this still Journey to the West? Hualin Fei touched his forehead, feeling that his soul had suffered a severe blow and shock. It was too outrageous. Nobita excitedly shouted to Shizuka, Master Sanzang, save me. Result, Shizuka looked at Nobita with a puzzled look on her face. Nobita, what are you talking about? It's your turn. Then, Fat Tiger and Sunio came out to urge Nobita. When Nobita was confused, he realized that everything that had just happened was just a dream. He was not being pressed by the 5-Finger Mountain at all, but he accidentally fell asleep in the classroom. Seeing this, Fat Tiger was relieved. I said, how could I be a monster when I am so handsome and strong? Sunio nodded and joked. That's right, Fat Tiger. You are clearly the best choice for Zhu Beiji. What did you say? Fat Tiger got angry and punched Xiaofu on the head. It hurts. The husband held his head. Tears were about to flow out. Call. In the fruity robo world, the 3 fruit warriors all breathed a sigh of relief. Pineapple blowing snow wiped the pineapple juice flowing from his forehead and said, It turns out I was just dreaming. I thought I had watched Journey to the West wrongly for so many years. Yeah, Chung Liuxiang nodded, because his head is his body. I'm scared to death. I was wondering how could Journey to the West be so wild. P.S. Let me tell you why there was only one update yesterday. I actually wrote the last chapter yesterday, but I want to take a shower first and wanted to post it after washing it. After I took a shower, my friend asked me to play games, so I forgot about it. When I woke up this morning, I found that I hadn't posted that chapter. It's so sad. Here, I want to say sorry, and I will definitely update it back today. Post views. 60. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 086086. Is there really a Sun Wukong in the world? And is he exactly the same as Nobita? In the light curtain, seeing Nobita still lying on the ground, Fat Tiger said to Nobita, "If you don't go on stage, he will skip your scene." When Nobita heard this, he hurriedly went on stage and said, "I am Sun Wukong," who jumped out of the stone. As a result, Fat Tiger hit him on the head with a rake. Originally, the Monkey King was played by Chu Mushin, and Nobita was just a villager, a minor character, and he only had one line in the whole film, which was to cry for help. Fat Tiger and Sunio are still fanning the flames, saying that since Nobita is so uncooperative, we should just delete his story. Then Nobita yelled, "Doraemon, what's wrong with playing a minor role?" Xiao Guoding looked at the screen and shook his head slightly. Who said that a minor role can't beat the protagonist? Who said that a minor role has no human rights? And he, Xiao Guoding, just wants to be a big minor role that surpasses the protagonist and the villain. Luckily, Deki was a good friend at this time and stood up for Nobita, saying that it was not good to delete the lines casually like this. But what about the wooden shirt? He did not disobey Fat Tiger directly, but asked the screenwriter next to him, Yuan Kai, what he thought. Yuan Kai said that the script cannot be changed, but it's getting late today, so let's just rehearse a few key scenes. Haha, the old Taoist priest was fiddling with his white beard as usual. This wooden shirt is really extraordinary, a great move with just a little effort. Zhang Lingyu looked over. He was always slow in this kind of interpersonal communication, so he didn't understand it very well. Seeing Zhang Lingyu's expression, the old master guessed what his good disciple was thinking and slowly explained. Chu Mushin also knew that it was not a good idea to go against Fat Tiger directly, so he asked other students, which shifted the pressure of rejecting Fat Tiger to everyone. Not only did he reject Fat Tiger's proposal, but he also didn't get hit by Fat Tiger. And even if Fat Tiger in 463 had a bad temper, he couldn't go against the whole class. It was a good idea. I have felt since the last video that this Izukusen must be very smart. If Nobita is a combat talent, this Izukusen should be an intelligence talent. If someone has both of these talents at the same time, it would be a great fortune. I understand. Zhang Lingyu nodded and understood a little. Then everyone started rehearsing. Looking at Deki and Shizuka acting on the stage, Nobita felt very uncomfortable. After all, it was his idea to perform Journey to the West at the orientation party. Now, not only did he not get to play the Monkey King, he even only got the role of Villager A. It's really sad. On the other hand, Fat Tiger was also dissatisfied with his role. After all, Sun Wukong is so handsome. Who wants to play Sun Wukong? Xiaofu always makes fun of Fat Tiger for playing Zhu Beiji, but soon he gets hit by Fat Tiger's ruthless fist afterwards. Fat Tiger went on stage to act with Chu Mushin. As a result, Fat Tiger not only spoke his lines in a mess, but was also too immersed in the role. He directly started fighting with Chu Mushin with 2 rakes, and then beat Chu Mushin so hard that he couldn't stand up. In the end, Sunio stepped in to stop the fight. Taking this opportunity, Fat Tiger started to make a fuss again, saying, "That's why I said I'm more suitable to play the role of Sun Wukong. Chu Mushin can't beat me." Sunio advised that everyone has a role that suits them, and Fat Tiger took the opportunity to mock Sunio, saying that he was most suitable to play a kappa. When the atmosphere is so tense, Nobita directly said that Sun Wukong should be played by someone who looks like Sun Wukong, and then he shamelessly stated that he is the person who looks exactly like Sun Wukong. Sunio told Nobita that Journey to the West was just a fictional novel and there was no such person as Sun Wukong in history. As soon as these words came out, Nobita was not happy. He stood up directly and confronted Fat Tiger and Sunio. Yes, there must be. Nobita also said that Sun Wukong definitely looks like him, and if he can prove it, he will play Sun Wukong. Crayon Shinchan World. Inside the park, by the way, does Sun Wukong really exist? Nini asked with some doubt. She really didn't know much. Feng Jian fixed his hair, knowing that it was time for him to show off again, and smiled and said, "Of course it doesn't exist. Journey to the West is just a fictional novel. How could there be a person who can perform the magic of 72 transformations in reality? However, Tang Sanzang really existed. Hey, but doesn't Brother Nobita firmly believe that Sun Wukong exists? I can only say that Nobita is a little too naive. I also thought that Sun Wukong existed before, but after learning a little more about it, I understood. Oh, Kazama, you're just like that. You like to act like an adult." Shin-chan teased. Sun Wukong doesn't exist, then who am I? Sun Wukong was confused. Who said he didn't exist? He was clearly alive and well. Nobita understood him. Not only did he exist, but he was also alive. In the light curtain, Nobita left after saying these harsh words. After returning home, Nobita must have looked for Doraemon first, but unfortunately, Doraemon was not at home. There is only a huge, strange machine in the house, running, but at this moment, Nobita couldn't care less and decided to take a time machine to ancient times to meet Sun Wukong. Interestingly, this time the time machine has added artificial intelligence and voice system after Nobita jumped into the time machine. I want to find Sun Wukong after searching with the time machine. It was found that there was no information about this person in history. At this time, Nobita thought that he had asked the wrong question. Sun Wukong was a monkey, so he had no human information. But the time machine said that it did not include the monkey's information then. Nobita decided to take a detour and search for Tang Sanzang, and he found it. The time machine asked Nobita, "It took Sanzang 19 years to get the scriptures. Which period should I choose?" Nobita didn't understand either, so he asked the time machine to pick a random time and set off. Soon, Nobita will arrive at his destination. But, the time machine also added that there will be an error of about 24 hours, so special attention should be paid. Soon, Nobita came to a desert. As soon as he came out of the time machine, Nobita felt the surroundings were extremely hot and stuffy. He had only been there for a few seconds when his face and body were covered with sweat. Why is it so hot? Will Master Sanzang really pass by here? Nobita was a little skeptical. Is there really anyone in a place like this? According to the computer's calculations, it will pass. The time machine's intelligent voice replied, "I know. I'll look for it first." No choice but to walk a few steps back, but there was only an endless desert in front of him, and no one was seen at all. After a while, Nobita had the idea of giving up, but at this moment, he noticed that there seemed to be a black shadow flying towards him in the distance. Is it an airplane? There can't be airplanes in this era. In an instant, the figure flew over Nobita's head. Nobita finally saw clearly that it was actually Sun Wukong and the somersault cloud under his feet. But the most important thing was that Sun Wukong actually looked exactly like him. Sun Wukong. Nobita was so excited that he started to circle around. Doraemon Universe, I told you that Sun Wukong really exists. Seeing this, Nobita clenched his fists and shouted excitedly. As for the people next to him, they all opened their mouths wide in disbelief. Sunio rubbed his eyes, still a little confused. Did I see it right just now? There really is a Sun Wukong? Doraemon nodded. And that Sun Wukong actually looks a lot like Nobita. How is this possible? Even if Sun Wukong really exists, he has nothing to do with Nobita. At this time, Fat Tiger seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly looked at Nobita beside him. Nobita, are you the reincarnation of Sun Wukong? I remember there was reincarnation and so on in Journey to the West. Hey, when these words came out, everyone was shocked and felt that it was a bit unreal. Oh my god, I'm not seeing wrong. Does Sun Wukong really look like that? Bai Xiaofei blinked and found it very strange. How could Sun Wukong look so much like Nobita? Could it be that Nobita also jumped out of stone? No. The most important question is how could Sun Wukong really exist? Then wouldn't he have learned history in high school in vain? Naruto World, Boruto Next Generation Sun Wukong. I remember this is the name of the Four Tails. How did it become like this? Naruto looked at the son Wukong in the picture and couldn't help but feel a little confused. The son Wukong in their world was completely different from him, which was really strange. Back to the light curtain, Nobita was about to go back and tell everyone the news. But he suddenly saw a figure lying on the ground not far away. Nobita thought it was Tang Sanzang, so he ran over in a hurry while shouting, "Master Tripitaka! Master Tripitaka!" Nobita walked over and saw that the other party was just a teenager, not the Master Tripitaka he imagined. The boy was lying on the ground, gasping for breath, and the situation was not good. Nobita couldn't just stand by and watch someone die. So he quickly said, "Cheer up. Water, water." The boy was still mumbling. At last, Nobita took out a bowl of distilled water from the storage tank of the time machine and gave it to the boy to drink. Lord Goku. After the boy recovered, he knelt down immediately after seeing Nobita and shouted to him respectfully, "Wukong." Nobita hadn't reacted yet and looked around. "Are you talking about me?" Nobita pointed at himself, somewhat incredulous. The boy said no more and continued his journey. At the same time, on the other side, Doraemon is playing a game, but the game he is playing is not an ordinary game, but a super virtual reality technology that transports the whole person into the game world. After a hearty dragon quest, Doraemon also finished the game handsomely, defeated the boss, and married the princess. The big machine that was just placed at home turned out to be a game console. Post views 37. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 087087. The bet with Fat Tiger, Nobita, and Nobita from Resident Evil compared the magical world of AO. When they saw the game that Doraemon was playing on the screen, Xiaomi and the others' eyes lit up and they subconsciously looked at AO. Feeling everyone's gaze, AO couldn't help but take a few steps back and ask cautiously, "Who are you? What do you want to do?" AO. Xiaomi came close to AO and said in a mushy tone, "We also want to play that kind of game. See if there is any planet that can get this kind of game." "This won't do." AO shook his head immediately after hearing this. "You guys will definitely get addicted, especially you, Xiaomi. You must study hard." When Xiaomi mentioned studying, his face fell. What he hated most was studying. Conan World. Conan's mouth twitched twice, and he complained, "It feels a bit strange that we are still playing pixel games when we have such advanced technology." Xiaozhi smiled. "Maybe I just like this retro style." In the light curtain, Dora finished the game and was still waiting for Nobita to come back and play together, but when he turned around, he saw Nobita's bag at home. Could it be that Nobita had already gone home? Next second, Nobita jumped out of the time machine and excitedly told Doraemon that he had seen son Wukong. Before Doraemon could say anything, he immediately ran out to inform everyone. After a while, Nobita came to the open space and told what he had just seen. Facing Nobita's statement, everyone must not believe it. Xiaofu insisted that Nobita was sleeping stupidly and dreamed of Fat Tiger asked Nobita, "Did you take pictures?" Nobita said, "I saw it with my own eyes." Fat Tiger said, "What's the use of seeing it with your own eyes? We won't believe it without evidence at this time." Even Shizuka didn't believe Nobita. After all, seeing son Wukong was too ridiculous. But Nobita said he could take everyone on a time machine to see it for themselves. At this time, Fat Tiger and Sunio had a bad idea and said it was boring to just watch. "Let's make a bet. If you're lying, we want the right to use all of Doraemon's props." Nobita would not give in at this time, so he agreed to the bet. Doraemon Universe. At this time, Doraemon was numb and angrily glanced at Nobita. "You made a bet with them. Why did you bring me along?" "Really?" Nobita touched his head. "Hey, what does it matter? I really saw son Wukong with my own eyes. I will definitely not lose." Ben 10 World. Isn't it a bit too hasty to just agree to it like this? Tian Xiaoban also felt that something was wrong, because the props of Doraemon were really amazing, much better than his broken watch. What kind of door, time machine, an electric pill, none of them were simple. And the stakes were the right to use Doraemon's props, but Doraemon didn't know about it at all. Wasn't it a bit unfair? Oh, how can Nobita agree to this? It's a big loss. Tian Xiaoban held his forehead helplessly. If they lose, Fat Tiger and the other two will get the right to use Doraemon's props. But if Nobita wins, they won't lose anything. The two sides are totally unequal, and they are still betting. Now she can see that this Nobita can't stand provocation. Just a little provocation will make him lose his composure. It seems that if you haven't experienced something like the zombie apocalypse, your character will be a little worse. The picture on the screen continues to play on the way. Fat Tiger was still asking for details, asking if Sun Wukong also wore glasses. Nobita answered firmly that yes, it was the one wearing glasses, which made Fat Tiger and Sunio even more unscrupulous. Oh my god, I suddenly remembered that Sun Wukong seemed to be wearing glasses just now. That's totally impossible. Pineapple Blowing Snow reacted. He felt that Sun Wukong was a little bit wrong just now. So this is the problem. That's right. Sun Wukong has flaming eyes. Why does he need to wear glasses? That Sun Wukong is definitely a fake. Chung Liuxiang nodded and understood. Pineapple Blowing Snow continued to speculate. So could it be that Sun Wukong was Nobita in disguise? That's not right. If that were the case, wouldn't it be like Nobita saw himself pretending to be Sun Wukong? Then there would be two Nobitas. For a moment, they couldn't figure out what was going on. Then everyone blocked Doraemon, who was about to buy dorayaki, jumped on the time machine, and Nobita asked the time machine to go back to the previous time. But the time machine said no because of the error of plus or minus 24 hours mentioned before. But there was no other way, so we had to go this way. Result: after arriving at the place, not only the time is wrong, but also the location is wrong. How can I see Sun Wukong now? At this moment, a discordant sound was heard. A group of people who looked bad were coming on horseback. Everyone was so scared that they hid behind two rocks. According to Doraemon's analysis, this group of people should be an ancient robber group. We can only hide for now. But, taking this opportunity, Doraemon also asked, Nobita, what is going on? Nobita had no choice but to answer, because Fat Tiger and the others said they wanted to see Sun Wukong in person. What? Want to see Sun Wukong? Doraemon was confused. What does this mean? Nobita continued. I really saw it with my own eyes, and later a little boy came and acted as Sun Wukong for me. But even so, Doraemon still didn't quite believe it, and looked at Nobita and asked, but, Nobita, when did you understand the Dragon Country language? Hey! After hearing what Doraemon said, Nobita immediately reacted and said, yes. What? Have you ever eaten translation konjac? How can you possibly understand what the little boy from Dragon Country said? After Doraemon said this, many viewers outside the screen also reacted. Doraemon's words really make sense. There are indeed many unreasonable places in the video just now. Why can Nobita understand the language of other countries? Could it be that Nobita is proficient in 8 languages at such a young age? It's a bit too much. That's not right. In the sheep village, Lazy Sheep, who was eating potato chips, was also stunned for a moment and stopped. If Nobita and I are not from the same place, then how can I understand what he says? Could it be that I am a language genius? Hearing what Lazy Sheep said, Pleasant Sheep curled his lips and said, you think too much. At this time, Slow Sheep said, I think it's because of this light curtain. After all, this light curtain should have appeared in other worlds, so it should be specially processed so that everyone can understand the language in it. So that's how it is. I really haven't thought about this issue before. The lambs all nodded, thinking that what the village chief said made some sense. What? When I heard that Nobita was actually betting the right to use all his props, Doraemon was stunned, because I am very confident. How could you agree to them without permission? Dory was still a little angry. He only knew about such an important matter now. There are a lot of dangerous items in his pocket. If Fat Tiger and Sunio were to use them at will, the consequences would be disastrous. After the bandits left, Fat Tiger said it was too dangerous and asked him to hurry up and let me see Sun Wukong. And at this time, Shizuka suddenly yelled that she found something strange. Everyone went over to see that it was a small group of people. Doraemon then took out a spy satellite to observe closely, and Nobita recognized that the person was Tang Sanzang. Nobita had seen his face on the computer before, so he had some impression of him. Shizuka was a little surprised. I didn't expect him to be different from what I imagined. He looks much stronger. Nobita smiled and explained, Of course, because this is a difficult journey. I said there is this person. Spell world, what is this Tang Sanzang? He is not what I imagined. Xiaoyu tilted her head. When she watched Journey to the West before, she thought Tang Sanzang would be more frail and fair. She didn't expect him to be so burly and rugged. He didn't have the temperament of a frail scholar at all. Shenlong smiled and said, "Then you are wrong. The journey to obtain the scriptures is very dangerous, just like the desert in the picture. Not only is the environment harsh, but there are also gangs of robbers appearing from time to time. If I were really a weak scholar, it would be impossible to accomplish this. But I am really surprised. I didn't expect that Xiaoyu you can actually read books. I thought you only knew how to play." Hearing this, Xiaoyu pouted and said, "Uncle Long, you are so rude. Although I like to play, but I can also read classics like Journey to the West." Okay, Uncle Long has wronged you. Is this Tang Sanzang? I feel like he can blow me up with one punch. Bai Xiaofei was also a little surprised. After all, this Tang Sanzang looked too strong. His muscular body looked like he was not easy to mess with. No wonder they were still safe and sound, even with so many bandit gangs around. The scene on the screen continued. As soon as Nobita said this, Fat Tiger refuted him. Because Tang Sung is a real person in history, it is not surprising that he exists. But if you look at him, there is no Sun Wukong and Zhu Beiji around him. So, Fat Tiger wants Nobita to admit defeat. But, although everyone came here for the bet, now everyone is witnessing history with their own eyes. In this situation, Fat Tiger and the other two were all immersed in it. Taking this opportunity, Doraemon quickly pulled Nobita aside and took out the hero machine, which was the game console from before. There is only one way now, and that is to let Nobita really turn into Sun Wukong. Doraemon found the game cartridge of the West game among a row of game cartridges, and then inserted it into the machine. Nobita, just follow the computer instructions for now. While Nobita was stunned, the surrounding scene suddenly changed, the desert disappeared, and he entered the game. Post views, 35 check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 088088. All the monsters are out, sent by mistake. Same as the next chapter. Only need to subscribe to one chapter. In the light curtain, welcome to the hero machine. First, let's choose the right role for you. A voice similar to artificial intelligence sounded in Nobita's ears. Before he could come to his senses, his clothes suddenly changed into those of Sun Wukong, with a somersault cloud under his feet, looking very realistic. After Nobita played inside for a while, he heard the voice of Doraemon from the sky. Nobita, what's wrong? I turned on the game console. Please come out quickly. Nobita was a little reluctant. I haven't even finished beating the monsters yet. Hearing this, Doraemon looked helpless. Let's stop here for the game. Hurry up and show up like this. Then Fat Tiger and the others will believe you. Nobita then remembered and hurriedly walked out of the game console. Doraemon looked at Nobita and was still a little worried. So he reminded him, Nobita, you have to treat yourself as the real Sun Wukong now. Do you understand? Once you're outside, you can still do the same things as in the game console, so don't worry. I'll go inform everyone first, and then you fly over from there. 553, Zombie World, what? The props in the game can also be brought into reality? Bai Xiaofei's eyes widened. What kind of black technology is this? Although he knew that each of Doraemon's props was extraordinary, he was still shocked after seeing it. If he could have Doraemon's pocket, wouldn't the zombies be just a piece of gauze? In a light curtain, everyone, Sun Wukong is here. But Nobita had a problem at this time. He couldn't even pretend to be Sun Wukong. He was suspected by Fat Tiger right from the start. How could Sun Wukong understand Sakura's language? I was fooled by Doraemon's claim that the Monkey King was omnipotent. After that, Nobita performed a stunt flying with his somersault cloud, but before he could fly well, he crashed headfirst into a rock. Happy Superman world, ha ha ha. Seeing this scene, all the superheroes couldn't help but laugh out loud. It looks so funny. The cloud can even hit the stone. It's amazing. Wait, that means the Monkey King that Nobita saw when he returned here with the time machine was actually himself. At this time, Zhang Chuan finally realized it, because Nobita's current outfit was exactly the same as the Monkey King's attire at the beginning. Susi looked over. Chulan, what do you mean? Zhang Chuan explained. You still remember the Monkey King at the beginning? He really did wear glasses, but Monkey King had fiery eyes and golden pupils, so why would he need to wear glasses? Not to mention that there were no such things as glasses in that era. Sun also understood. In other words, that Monkey King was actually Nobita in disguise? But then why are there two Nobitas at the same time? Zhang Chulan smiled. Do you remember what the time machine said before? What did the time machine say? Suddenly, the two of them reacted suddenly. The time machine has a 24-hour error. That's right. The reason why there are two Nobitas is because of this error. The Nobita pretending to be Sun Wukong appeared in front of the other Nobita, so that's it. Su-san and Susi nodded, thinking that Zhang Chulan's reasoning made sense. After all, they have never seen Sun Wukong wearing glasses. The picture on the screen continues to play. Doraemon is frantically hinting that Nobita is almost done. Let's go. The Monkey King must be very busy. Nobita is still there. Not busy at all. Doraemon is getting mad at him. The handshake afterwards. Nobita was even more partial and only shook hands with Shizuka, which aroused Fat Tiger's suspicion. One Piece World, good fellow. Sanji glared at Nobita in the picture. You are so lustful at such a young age. This is not okay. Nami, who was standing by, heard this and her face turned black, and she complained, You have no right to criticize others. Next, when performing the enlargement of the golden hoop. The golden hoop was too heavy and it crushed itself instead. However, while Nobita and his friends were still having fun because the hero machine was not turned off, a ferocious monster crawled out of it and came to the real world. Oh no! Xiaozhi and the others all looked pale, and they looked at the screen nervously, wanting to rush in to remind Dora, A, and the others. I didn't expect the monster inside could actually crawl out. This is terrible. Kalulu was so scared that her face turned pale. This was just like a ghost crawling out of a horror movie. Xiaozhi was also scared. Fortunately, Doraemon didn't play the kind of horror game. Otherwise, it would not be fun if an evil ghost really crawled out of it. I feel that these monsters are scarier than those so-called evil spirits. Atiera shook his head and said, but luckily, only one escaped. Xiaozhi breathed a sigh of relief. If there was only one, Nobita and the others should still be able to deal with it. Atiera glanced at Xiaozhi and said, Who told you there's only one? The entrance is right here. All the monsters inside will come out as long as they're not stupid. But we only saw one run out. This, after hearing what Atiera said, Xiaozhi also felt that it made sense and suddenly felt troubled. It's over. Then Nobita's world will not be occupied by monsters, right? I heard that monsters love to eat people. He continued to look at the light curtain. When Nobita was about to say goodbye to everyone, Fat Tiger shouted to Nobita, Nobita, wait a minute. As a result, Nobita actually turned around and responded to Fat Tiger, asking what he was doing. This time, all the efforts have been wasted. Since I've been exposed, there's nothing I can do. I can only accept the defeat. Mermaid King. Sophia blinked and said in surprise, I didn't expect this Fat Tiger to be so smart. He actually saw through Nobita's identity. I used to think he was like a chimpanzee with no brains. It seems I was wrong about him. Little Harry's mouth twitched for a while. It was hard not to be suspected based on Nobita's actions just now. Fat Tiger drove the time machine and excitedly said that he wanted to go back to play the hero machine. On the way, Nobita and Doraemon complained to each other. Nobita complained that Doraemon's props were useless, and Doraemon said that Nobita's acting was terrible. After returning home, everyone expressed their enthusiasm to play Journey to the West. After everyone enters the game, the computer automatically assigns roles to everyone. Nobita is still Sun Wukong. Sunio is Sha Sung. Shizuka is Tang Sanzang, and Fat Tiger is Yubeiji. At Nobita's home, seeing the computer's allocation, Fat Tiger clenches fists in dissatisfaction. Why would I be Yubeiji? I'm so strong and so good at fighting. Am I not the best candidate for Sun Wukong? Several people looked at Fat Tiger's spherical figure and felt that he was the best candidate for Zhubeiji. Sunio also nodded. Sun Wukong should be played by someone like me who has the temperament of a successful person. Look at what Nobita did just now. Nobita blushed. His behavior just now was indeed a bit stupid, but he still retorted, Sunio, you can't do it. If Sun Wukong is given to you, you'll be too short, just like the dwarfs in Snow White. Puff, a short sentence. It pierced Sunio's heart fiercely. Sunio supported his hands on the ground, his face full of autism. Yes, I'm so short he. Nobita and the others were stunned and scratched their heads, wondering if their words were too hurtful. But Shizuka also spoke up. I'm playing Tang Sanzang. It feels a bit weird. When she thought of Tang Sanzang as a strong and powerful man, Shizuka always felt that there was something wrong with her as Tang Sanzang. Although Fat Tiger is very unhappy that he is still Beiji, it is assigned by the computer, and there is nothing he can do about it. Anyway, let's start playing the game first. But the strange thing is that after walking for a while, they didn't see any monsters at all, not even one, only the monster's appearance effects. There is no monster here. What's the point of playing? In the end, after inexplicably traveling through various scenes for a while, they jumped directly to the end of the game. Everyone just inexplicably passed the game. After everyone came out, they all felt that the game was too boring and they couldn't even kill the monsters. Demon World. Miyako frowned, and a trace of worry appeared on her face. Sure enough, all the monsters ran out. This was not unexpected to her. After all, she also thought that if the monsters wanted to run away, they would definitely run away. How could only one run out? Pastor Manu nodded and looked at the screen solemnly. Miyako, did you notice the sky outside Nobita's window? Hearing her father's words, Miyako turned her head with some confusion, and her pretty face suddenly changed, filled with panic and horror. Because at this moment, the sky in the picture is really weird. The dark yellow sky seems that no weather can match it, especially with an indescribable sense of depression and panic. Hey, Pastor Manu sighed and said, if my guess is correct, those monsters may have already taken action. At this time, it was getting late, so everyone decided to go home and play tomorrow at dinner time. However, Nobita found that the rice his mother cooked today tasted particularly strange. Not only was it delicious, but it also tasted very novel. Even most of the dishes on the table were new to Nobita, but at this time Nobita still didn't notice anything unusual. Post views. 42 check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 0, 89089. Nobita's parents who turned into monsters. The tonic lizard soup in a light curtain after eating a piece of meat that looked like a fried chicken nugget. Nobita's eyes lit up, and he quickly said, this fried chicken nugget is delicious. After tasting it, Doraemon nodded and said, really, it's delicious. But what neither Nobita nor Doraemon noticed is, through the newspaper, Daxiong's father actually had 2 horns on his head, like a monster. Dad, don't read the newspaper while eating. Yes, Dad. Nobita was about to say something to his father, but his eyes suddenly froze, and he was so scared that his chopsticks fell on the table. No, Daxiong's father responded and put down the newspaper, but strangely there was nothing above his head. What's wrong with you, Nobita? Seeing Nobita's stunned look, Nobita's father asked with some confusion. Without nothing, Nobita came to his senses and thought he was seeing things, so he didn't say anything more. After Nobita's father ate a piece of fried chicken, he couldn't help but say, wow, this fried chicken is really delicious. Yes. Nobi Tamako, who was making soup, smiled and said, today I'm frying Nobita's favorite frog meat and snake meat. As soon as these words came out, Nobita and Doraemon, who were enjoying their delicious food, were startled and the food in their mouths sprayed out. Doraemon Universe, Dad, Mom. How did it become like this? Nobita's face turned pale, and when he thought of the appearance of frogs and snakes, he felt nauseous and a little nauseous. Fat Tiger and others looked at Nobita in surprise. Nobita, I didn't expect you to have such a strong taste. You actually like to eat frog meat and snake meat. We didn't know this before. How is it possible? Nobita shouted immediately. He lost his appetite just thinking about it. How could he like it? Sunio smiled and said, no need to feel ashamed, Nobita. Although I have never eaten frog meat, I have eaten bullfrogs, and I have also eaten a little snake meat. The taste is actually quite good, and it is also rich in nutrition. He thought that Nobita thought it was strange to eat these two kinds of meat, so he denied it. So Sunio wanted to comfort him. Hearing this, Nobita slapped his forehead and said, I really don't like it. Didn't you see that Doraemon and I almost vomited after hearing that it was frog meat and snake meat in the picture? But Dad and Mom are both so weird. What's going on, Doraemon? Doraemon thought for a moment and said, it must be the work of some monster. What? Fried chicken nuggets are made of frog meat and snake meat. Don't lie to me. I'm not well educated. Baiwechu was confused. They were called fried chicken nuggets, but they were not made of chicken. Then why were they not called fried frog nuggets and fried snake nuggets? It was really weird. Su at the side was a little curious. Brother Taoist, what do frog meat and snake meat taste like? I haven't eaten them yet. Baiwechu smiled for some reason. You asked the right person. When I wanted to eat meat before, I often went to the mountains to catch frogs and snakes to eat. Although they looked a bit disgusting, they tasted so delicious. When I have the chance in the future, I will take you to try it. Okay. Sorry to have kept you waiting. This is Dad's favorite lizard soup. In a moment, Nobita Tamako came over with a big bowl in her hand. But after seeing what was inside the bowl, Nobita and Doraemon were so scared that their faces turned pale. A big lizard was lying in the bowl, and it even had claws on its hands and feet. It was disgusting to look at. Oh, Nobita's father was very excited. It smells really good. Seeing such strange parents, Nobita and Doraemon didn't dare to stay for a moment, and quickly said, I'm full, and ran away. Kara was so scared that she screamed. What is this? Such a disgusting thing. Can it really be eaten? The doctor touched his beard and said, lizard tonic soup? I haven't tried it yet. I could try it if I have the chance. Hey, Kara took a few steps back. She felt that the doctor was becoming dangerous. At night, the two of them lay in bed. The more I thought about it, the more I felt something was wrong. Even the patterns on their sheets had changed at some point, becoming bats and skulls. Such horrible things. But it's a pity that the two are still arguing. Although they already feel that something is wrong, they still can't reach an agreement. So the suspicions of the two were resolved. The next day, Nobita went to school as usual, but when he arrived at school, the content of the journey to the west that he had rehearsed had been turned upside down. Sun Wukong became a trader who sold himself for fame, and Tang Sung was about to be eaten by monsters. Such a strange plot was naturally questioned by friends. But the strange thing at this moment was not the others, but the four of them. At this time, the teacher of Nobita and his friends came in to check the situation. Teacher, the four people over there don't want to cooperate with the rehearsal. Izuku immediately reported Nobita and the other three. No, Shizuka explained. We just said that monsters would defeat humans or something. It was really weird, strange. The teacher's expression became a little strange. Nobita also said, Master Sanzang is going to be eaten. Isn't this kind of journey to the west very strange? What's so funny about this? In an instant, the teacher's expression became extremely ferocious. After a loud roar, the clothes on his body suddenly burst, and he turned into a terrifying bull monster. Who are you guys? Zombie whirl, fuck. Bai Xiaofei was so frightened that he almost fell to the ground. He wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. I was scared to death. Such a big person turned into a monster. Damn, it seems that Nobita's world has been ruled by monsters. This group of monsters is really fast. It has only been a short time, but they have turned the world into this. It seems that everyone has become a monster. Wow. For a moment, everyone was so scared that they screamed. Shizuka pointed at the teacher in the picture and said, Teacher, he turned into a monster. Damn it. Doraemon also reacted. I was wondering why the world has become so strange. It seems that everyone except us have been assimilated into monsters. What? Doesn't that mean my parents are the same? Fat Tiger and Sunio were both shocked, and their bodies couldn't stop shaking. That's right. It seems that those monsters are more difficult to deal with than I thought. Doraemon nodded, and things started to get bad. Run. Daxiong and his companions did not dare to stay any longer and immediately ran away. After running to the open space, everyone began to review the situation and said that things started to get weird after they entered the hero machine yesterday. It must be Doraemon's fault. The other three went home first, and Nobita was responsible for finding Doraemon to see what went wrong. After returning home, Nobita told the story of school. Doraemon has already made a preliminary judgment at this time. And when the mother who had turned into a monster came into the room, it proved that except for the five of them, everyone else in the world had turned into a monster. Then the two of them took the bamboo dragonfly and planned to go out to see if there was anything unusual. Doraemon said that although the building looks the same as before, there's a sense of evil in the air. Nobita asked Doraemon, "Have we accidentally entered the world of monsters?" Doraemon said it was impossible. If this was really a world of monsters, how could there be so many things that are the same as their world? As they were flying, they suddenly saw an abrupt building. It's a huge demon tower. It seems that the evil spirit in the air is emitted from here. Then Doraemon asked Nobita what kind of story the journey to the west rehearsed in the school has become. Nobita told Doraemon that the final ending was that Tang Sanzang was eaten, a world where monsters rule the world. The cold-faced Tushan Yaya rarely smiled. It's really interesting, but the monsters in that world are too ugly. It's really embarrassing for the monster race. Tushan Rongrong narrowed his eyes and smiled. I don't think there's anything wrong with becoming a monster, but the monsters in Nobita's world don't seem to be good people. At this time, Nobita and Doraemon were suddenly attacked by a group of bats. Fortunately, Doraemon took out the bat-catching gun in time and easily dealt with the group of bats. The world of joy. Inside the wolf castle, Grey Wolf was stunned, then scratched his head. The props in this Doraemon's pocket can really be used for everything. There's even one that is specifically used to catch bats. It's just like a treasure bag. Anyway, the crisis was resolved temporarily, but the bat must have discovered that the two of them were not monsters, so it attacked them. So, the remaining three people, Fat Tiger, must be in a very critical situation. Fortunately, on the way back, Nobita successfully picked up Shizuka, and Shizuka hid in Nobita's arms out of fear, leaving Nobita in a trance. When I got home, I also met Fat Tiger and Sunio. After arriving home, Doraemon expressed his ultimate guess. Because of their behavior of traveling to ancient times yesterday, the monsters ran out of the hero machine. After they successfully ate Tang Sanzang, they used their terrifying abilities and spells to eventually dominate the world. Completely changed history, so what they have to do now is to go back to the Tang dynasty, deal with the monsters, put history back on track, and this time restart their journey to the west. Facing this proposal, Nobita and his friends all felt that it was impossible. After all, the opponent was a terrifying monster. How could they, a few powerless kids, be a match for him? Resident Evil World. Seeing this, King Ada laughed and said, "Nobita, that guy, can deal with zombie monsters like Tyrant alone in another world. It shouldn't be a problem to deal with a few monsters." On the side, Weskier, who was sitting on a chair, shook his head and said, "It's hard to say. After all, no matter how strong Tyrant is, it's only on the physical level. I read that the monsters in Longwa's novels have the same power as superpowers. If we rely on humans alone, we may not be able to defeat them. Although those monsters may be very strong, but I think with the props in Doraemon's pocket, the monsters should not be a match." Huolin Fei said, touching his chin. After all, Doraemon's props are really more abnormal than one. Traveling through time, pausing time, and teleporting can all be done. With a few powerful props, can't you fight at will? Doraemon explained that we are not trying to defeat the monsters, but to get them back into the hero machine. And they're not completely unprepared. As long as they continue to transform into characters from Journey to the West, we will not be without the ability to fight. Although Fat Tiger and Xiaofu don't want to continue playing the roles of Beiji and Sha Sung, there is no other way. They all decide to jump on the time machine and go to the Tang dynasty to correct history. Sailor, good King Zhao whirled this Xiaozhi touched the head of the metal shell and said, "Is it really possible?" I think the Monkey King played by Nobita at the beginning is really hard to describe. Achida quickly stood up and said, That's just because Mr. Nobita is not very familiar with him. Calula hummed. It should be fine. After all, Nobita's motor skills are pretty good. Just give him some time to get familiar with it. That's right. Thinking about Nobita's previous performance, Xiaozhi also felt that there was some truth in it. He was just talking casually just now. Now, Tang Sanzang was walking on a cliff with only one follower following him. And this follower was the person that Daxiong saved at the beginning. As they walked, they came to a temple, but something was wrong with this temple. After entering the temple, the whole temple was empty. Although it felt strange, the two decided to rest here. Through the conversation between Tang Sung and his apprentice, we learned that the apprentice's name is Lin Lei, and he has been traveling with Tang Sung for more than 10 days, and Tang Sung's journey has also exceeded 1 year. Many disciples along the way left because they couldn't stand the hard journey. Tang Sung sincerely hoped that Lin Lei could persevere. But when Tang Sung was eating, behind him, a monster suddenly stood. Lin Lei seemed to notice it. He turned his head and saw that the monster disappeared in an instant. It was very strange. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 090. A fierce battle between Golden Horn and Silver Horn. How big is Doraemon's pocket? In a light curtain, and just as the master and the disciple were talking, a gust of evil wind blew over, and it turned out that Tang Sung had already been targeted by the Golden Horn and Silver Horn. The temple here is just a trick set up by two people using sorcery. It's just very strange that Lin Lei seemed to have noticed the whereabouts of the gold and silver horns, but he didn't report it to Tang Sung, which seemed a bit suspicious. Alien World. Zhang Chuan also saw the suspicious behavior of Lin Lei in the picture and frowned. This Lin Lei, I feel his motives are not pure. Su Sen nodded. I saw him looking around all the time, and it seems that he knew that Jin Jiao and Yin Jiao were here a long time ago. But why didn't he tell Tang Sanzang? That's something you need to think about. Su Si exhaled a puff of smoke. This Lin Lei must be a monster. Su Sen shook his head. It's better not to jump to conclusions. Or maybe this Lin Lei is threatened by those monsters. Let's continue to watch. Doraemon Universe. Nobita's home? Hello. What does this guy mean? He clearly saw the silver horn just now. Why didn't he tell Tang Sung? If this goes on, Tang Sung will be in danger. Fat Tiger's face was full of tension and confusion. That Lin Lei was Tang Sung's apprentice. Why was he so suspicious? Doraemon patted Fat Tiger on the shoulder. Calm down. Fat Tiger, there may be some hidden story. Damn it. Although Fat Tiger was very upset, he just suppressed his anger and continued to watch. On the other side, Doraemon is about to arrive at his destination. For safety reasons, he takes out his props, the danger alarm. As long as 837 sees something dangerous around him, he will automatically call the police, such as a monster approaching. Is it so advanced? Bai Xiaofei was stunned when he saw another new prop of Doraemon. At the same time, he couldn't help but wonder why the future technology could identify monsters. It was really strange. Could it be that there were monsters in the future? Just as they were about to get out of the time machine, the alarm suddenly sounded. What's even more strange is that after they walked out of the time machine, they didn't find any danger. How strange. There are no monsters here. After Doraemon and his companions walked out of the time tunnel, they looked around and saw no monsters or even a single person. Nobita frowned. You are not mistaken. Doraemon ignored Nobita. He had guessed that they were probably in a mountain range in Dragon Country. To facilitate the next journey, Doraemon took out another tool. Translate Konjac, but Fat Tiger still had some doubts. Anyway, is this really the Tang dynasty? Doraemon was a little annoyed after being questioned again and again and said to them impatiently, no matter what, this is Dragon Country. Do you all speak Chinese? How can we not do this kind of preparation well? Hello, thank you. Nobita and the others spoke in a very strange tone. Very good. Doraemon also said the same thing with a smile. Fruity Robo World, I cab go. Did I hear it right? What Nobita and the others said just now was actually Chinese. Boruto Blowing Snow was stunned. He had decided that this translator Konjac was really useful. Although it still sounded a little strange, it was already clear enough to understand. Very good. What a great thing. If I have this thing, I won't have to worry about language problems when I travel in the future. Chung Liuxiang and Lu Xiaobo both nodded. Although this translation konjac has no lethality, it is indeed a very practical prop. Boom! At this time, the mountain shook violently, and Doraemon and his companions were stunned and had not yet reacted to what had happened. Doraemon looked up and saw countless large and small pieces of rubble falling towards them. Danger! Doraemon shouted and hurriedly took everyone to hide in a small cave. Look over there. Suddenly Shizuka seemed to see something and shouted. Everyone turned around and saw Tang Sanzang riding a horse below, also trying to avoid falling rocks. At this time, everyone reacted and looked up and found that the falling rocks were caused by several monsters. Everyone, it's time to go out and collect them, Doraemon said in a serious voice. Nobita on the side glanced at him and said, Doraemon, hurry up and take out the props. Doraemon was stunned and explained, Didn't I tell you that you all have your own abilities, just like in a game? Hearing this, Nobita smiled and said, What, is that so? Why didn't you say so earlier? The novel was taken from the Rala's website. Close where you're reading it, and support us on our website for more free novels. Somersault Cloud, Nobita shouted, and the Somersault Cloud appeared out of nowhere and stopped right in front of Nobita. Next second, Nobita directly stepped on the Somersault Cloud and flew towards the top of the mountain under the envious gazes of Fat Tiger and Sunio. Doraemon Universe. Nobita's home, damn it. I envy Nobita so much. I also want to try the feeling of standing on the Somersault Cloud. Fat Tiger looked at Nobita in the picture with envy. Why is Nobita the Monkey King and he is Zhu Beiji? Yes, Sun Wukong also has the golden hoop to use. Unlike me and Fat Tiger, it doesn't feel fun at all. Xiaofu also said, After all, Sun Wukong is so handsome. Who doesn't want to be Sun Wukong? Hehe. Nobita smiled confidently and patted his chest. Because my temperament is most like Sun Wukong. I am simply Sun Wukong himself. Come on, Xiaofu complained. Whose Sun Wukong would wear glasses? Okay. Doraemon waved his hands. This is the system's choice. There's nothing we can do about it. Besides, I'm not here for fun. I'm here to protect Tang Sanzang. Shizuka suddenly said, No, the character I play is also Tang Sanzang. So there are two Tang Sanzangs, right? Yes. After hearing what Shizuka said, everyone remembered. The picture on the screen continued to play. The other side, Silverhorn held the iron weapon in his hand and shouted impatiently, Hey, Tang Sanzang still hasn't been caught? Next second, Nobita dressed as Sun Wukong flew to the front of Jin Jiao and Yin Jiao on his Somersault Cloud. Found you, monsters! At this time, Nobita seemed to recognize the two monsters in front of him and immediately approached them with some curiosity. Oh, are you the Golden Horn and Silver Horn? Yin Jiao pointed at Nobita, who suddenly appeared and asked in a bad tone, Who are you? Strange. Nobita pointed at himself and said, Don't you know me? Who knows who you are? Come on and tell me your name. Nobita didn't show any fear on his face. Instead, he smiled with great vigor and said, I am no longer the small fry Nobita I once was. Suddenly, the two little monsters next to him launched a sneak attack. Fortunately, the Somersault Cloud has an automatic evasion function, so he flew upwards and dodged them. But Nobita didn't react at all. His legs were unstable, and he sat on the Somersault Cloud. Oh, now I am Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong. Hearing this name, both Jin Jiao and Yin Jiao were stunned. Sailor World, wow. This Somersault Cloud can actually dodge attacks automatically. Xiaozi's eyes lit up. This is a great treasure. My dad must like it very much. Your dad, isn't it on Earth? Atieda and Kalyalu were slightly startled. They seemed to have heard Xiaozi talk about his father before. Yes. When mentioning his father, Xiaozi immediately raised his head proudly. My father is very powerful. He has all kinds of strange props. Even Xiaomi was picked up by my father in the beginning. At this time, Doraemon and his companions also came behind Nobita, and his companion Doraemon. I am Beiji. I am Xiao Wujing. Then, Fat Tiger and Sunio looked at Nobita again, their eyes full of envy. Nobita is the only one being a hero. That's what I mean. Okay, Doraemon took out the hero machine from his pocket and said, "You just cooperate with us. Come back to the machine." Assassin World, Chicken Island, wow, no matter how many times I see it, it's still incredible. Wu Lookie said while eating beef offal. Dorie's pocket is so small. How can it fit so many props? And that prop is so big, won't it get stuck when I take it out? G. DeBeo heard this and clicked his tongue a few times. There's no need to think about it. It must be some kind of space technology. The space in Doraemon's pocket may be bigger than our chicken island. What? Wu Lookie was so frightened that the beef offal fell into the bowl. It's bigger than our chicken island. If Nobita and his friends have no place to live in the future, they can live in Doraemon's pocket. G. DeBeo admired Wu Lookie's imagination, but still complained. Who has nothing to do and lives in a pocket? Post views. 38. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 091-091. I am a robot from the 22nd century. The Golden Horn and the Silver Horn are defeated. In the light curtain hearing what Doraemon said, Kinkaku and Ginkaku became angry. What damn? Watch me take care of you. In an instant, all the little monsters around attacked Nobita. Come on, but Nobita and his friend were not afraid, but went straight up to fight with the little monsters. Doraemon went to deal with the Golden Horn and the Silver Horn. Hurry up and get back into the machine. What did you say, you blue tanuki monster? As soon as these words came out, Doraemon immediately grabbed the little monster behind him and threw it towards Injiao with force. I'm not a raccoon cat. My name is Doraemon. Didn't I tell you that he? Kara covered her mouth and laughed. Doctor, do you think Kinkaku and Yinkaku mistook Doraemon for a monster? The doctor smiled and said, it is possible. After all, Doraemon does not look like a human being at all. He looks more like a monster. That's right. Kara then remembered something. Doctor, I saw it talking about Journey to the West all the time. Journey to the West, what on earth is that? Forehead. This question immediately touched upon the doctor's blind spot. After all, he was not from Earth, so how could he know what Journey to the West was? Seeing the doctor's expression, Kara knew that the doctor was just like her and knew nothing at all. She then turned her face back and continued to look at the light curtain. Doraemon, Jean Zhao on the side, seemed to have some bad ideas and showed a sinister smile. At the same time, on the other side, Jing Xiang stayed beside Tang Sanzang. Master Sanzang, are you okay? I'm fine. Tang Sanzang shook his head and asked in confusion, who are you guys? This is a long story, but in short, we will definitely protect you from being eaten by monsters. However, hearing this, Lin Lei suddenly turned around and looked at Shizuka with some surprise. Monster? Shizuka didn't explain too much. Don't worry, Doraemon will definitely escort you to Tianju. Doraemon. Tang Sanzang is now confused. What on earth happened? Doraemon. Jinjiao, shouted Nobita, who was struggling with the monster, turned back suddenly and warned loudly, don't answer him. Doraemon. Jinjiao shouted again. If you answer him, you will be sucked into the gourd. But Doraemon seemed not to have heard Nobita's reminder and replied stupidly, it's me. Next second, Doraemon felt that his body was out of control and was sucked into the gourd in Jinjiao's hand. Idiot! Jinjiao quickly put the stopper back on, shook the gourd in his hand, and said mockingly, I sucked you into the gourd. Silverhorn beside him was also very happy. Now we have Civet Cat wine to drink. Super Beast World, no. What is this Doraemon doing? Didn't Nobita warn him? Why hasn't he fallen for it yet? Hualin Fei was speechless. He originally thought that Doraemon should be the smartest among Nobita and his companions. But why did he suddenly fail at such a critical moment? Meow. Tiaojuan tapped his chin. Hualin Fei, you said Doraemon is a robot. Can it be soaked in wine? Are you sure he won't drink it with a mouthful of motor oil? By the way, if the parts of Doraemon are good enough, they should not dissolve, right? Ouch. Hualin Fei slapped his head and said, Fatty, you're right. Maybe Doraemon did it on purpose. Intentional. Yes, think about it carefully. There's so many props in Doraemon's pocket. He must not be a bad robot. The gourd alone should not cause any harm to him. And then use the props from the inside to destroy the gourd. Now Jinjiao Injiao has lost a magic weapon. Hearing what Hualin Fei said, Meow Xiaozhi nodded thoughtfully. What you said makes sense. You are worthy of being my brother. You are smart. In the demon world. Seeing this scene, Miyako's face suddenly changed. Worry appeared on her pretty face. Oh no. Doraemon was sucked into the gourd. This is a problem. Doraemon is the backbone of Nobita's gang. Now Doraemon is the first to be sucked. What should we do now? Past a man, you said. Don't worry. Maybe this is Doraemon's plan. Just watch it patiently. The picture on the screen continued to play. Hurry up and catch that monk. Good. Silverhorn responded and turned into a gust of black wind, disappearing on the spot. Jin Jiao licked his lips greedily and shook the gourd in his hand slightly. Melt quickly. Doraemon. Nobita killed another monster and hurried to the front of Jin Jiao. Jin Jiao, give me that gourd quickly. I don't want to, unless the raccoon cat is completely melted. Jin Jiao is not a fool. How could he hand over the gourd just because of a word from Nobita? Inside the gourd, Doraemon also woke up at this moment. Listening to the words of Jin Jiao outside, he looked at his unworn metal surface. How could I be melted? I am a cat-shaped robot from the 22nd century. I really can't figure out the situation. Anywhere door. Doraemon took out the anywhere door from his pocket. Wow, it's a random door. I can already imagine the expression on the face of the golden horn after Doraemon walks out so arrogantly. Bai Yuechu raised his eyebrows, pulled up a grass root, and put it in his mouth. This is a big collision between technology and demonic power. However, technology should win this time. But in Bai Yuechu's opinion, the golden horn and silver horn in the picture are a little too weak. It's hard to see any powerful spells. Only a magic weapon can be slightly acceptable. At least, it's far worse than the monsters in their world. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that technology and magic are opposites. Only when they are combined can the greatest advantages of both be brought into play. On the other side, Sunio was cornered by the monster. Fortunately, Fat Tiger was a good friend and came to rescue Sunio. It's melting. Jin Jiao put his cheek on the gourd and could no longer hear Doraemon's cry for help. What's wrong, Nobita? At this time, Fat Tiger and Sunio also rushed over. Nobita said, Doraemon was sucked into the gourd. What should I do? What, really? Was he really sucked in? Fat Tiger and Sunio were both shocked and confused for a moment. However, not far behind them, a random door appeared out of nowhere, and Dora staggered out from it. Don't worry about me over the smallest things. Hearing this voice, everyone turned their heads and saw Doraemon standing straight in front of them. Not to mention being dissolved into wine, there was not even a single wound on his body. Doraemon, Nobita, and the other two breathed a sigh of relief. Doraemon was fine, but Jin Jiao looked as if he had seen a ghost. His eyes kept moving between the gourd and Doraemon. He even wondered if his gourd was broken. When will you come out, Golden Horn? Doraemon shouted faintly. What? At the moment when Jin Jiao responded to Doraemon, a strong suction force came and sucked Jin Jiao directly into the hero machine. Alien world. Zhang Chulan stared. Wow. So this is how you let the monster in. I thought you had to throw the monster in yourself. It turns out there is such a function. Su-san shook his head. Doraemon's props are really weird. Ha 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 ha. Su-Sab laughed a few times and patted his thigh. This is called giving someone a taste of their own medicine. It's really interesting. But Zhang Chulan seemed to have thought of something. Are you sure you don't want to save Tang Sanzang? I remember that Silver Horn went to capture him. Shizuka is just Tang Sanzang, and she doesn't have any special spells. I don't think she can protect him. Doraemon Universe. At Nobita's home, good job. I knew you wouldn't die so easily, Doraemon. Fat Tiger patted Doraemon's back vigorously and shouted heroically. Doraemon coughed a few times. Ahem, these are all within my expectations. Being sucked in was also my strategy. Really? The others looked skeptical and unconvinced. Of course it's true. Doraemon said seriously. He still had to save his face. After subduing the golden horn, Nobita also rushed over to repel the silver horn. But before leaving, Injiao looked at Lin Lei thoughtfully, and I don't know what the deep meaning is. After being rescued by Nobita, Lin Lei also stepped forward to thank Nobita. Nobita also recognized that this was the boy who died of thirst in the desert before. But facing Nobita's statement, Lin Lei felt a little strange. After all, this was the first time the two met. At this time, Fat Tiger and his friends finally arrived. Nobita immediately took credit and said, I beat Ginkaku away by myself. I'm so awesome. Then Tang Sanzang asked everyone, who are you and why do you want to protect me? Fat Tiger was about to say that it was because something went wrong with Doraemon's gadgets that the future became a world of monsters. It was immediately intercepted by Doraemon. We were just messengers of justice passing by. That's all. We can only say that Doraemon gadgets have saved the world many times, but they have also nearly destroyed it many times. After that, the two groups of people started to act separately. Tang Sung continued to watch his journey, while Nobita and his group had to quickly bypass Tang Sung and complete the recovery of the monster. The group traveled through the time machine to the desert where Tang Sung would pass tomorrow to look for traces of the monster. I don't know if Nobita was happy that he just killed Ginkaku alone, but he was very excited and kept singing along the way. Post views 36. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 092. Nobita and Shizuka show off their love, and everyone is jealous, and the light curtain Silverhorn is in a worse situation at this time. Yin Jiao was kneeling down to apologize. The woman in front of him accused him of acting without authorization. They had already planted spies around Tang Sanzang. The woman's skin was pale and looked a little creepy, but she looked good. She was holding a palm leaf fan in her hand. Silverhorn's unauthorized actions almost exposed the spy. Zhang Chuan immediately thought of Lin Lei. He had seemed strange to him before, but now it seemed that he was indeed on the side of the monster. This is dangerous, but this woman should be Princess Iron Fan. Looking at the fan in the woman's hand in the picture, Zhang Chuan guessed the woman's identity. She was the wife of Bull Demon King in Journey to the West, Princess Iron Fan. Susie smiled and said, even Princess Iron Fan has appeared, so Bull Demon King should have one too. Oh, when Ito Makoto saw the Iron Fan princess in the picture, his eyes lit up. Although the skin of this Iron Fan princess was a little scary, her face was really nice. She was the type he liked. Yin Jiao begged to give him another 4-3-7 chance, but the woman did not have the final say, but looked at the monster sitting on the throne. The extremely huge body and the bullhorn on the top of his head undoubtedly told everyone that he was the Bull Demon King. Alien world, damn it! In an instant, the cigarette in Susie's hand fell to the ground. Although he had thought that there would be a Bull Demon King, he never thought that the Bull Demon King would be so big. Zhang Chuan also widened his eyes and spoke with some stammering. Is this the Bull Demon King? Are you sure it's not a giant bull? Whose Bull Demon King is so big? Zhang Chuan felt that the journey to the west he watched as a child seemed to be getting more and more blurred. He clearly remembered that the Bull Demon King and son Wukong on TV were of similar size, and they were brothers. Su San touched his chin. After all, this is not the real Bull Demon King in Journey to the West, but the Bull Demon King in the game console. This Bull Demon King is obviously the final boss level character, so he is so big. At the same time, in the Hatchet world, Makoto Ito, who originally had some ideas about Princess Iron Fan, immediately extinguished this idea after seeing the Bull Demon King. The Bull Demon King might have trampled him in a meat paste with one foot. Can't afford to provoke. Doraemon Universe, what? Is that the Bull Demon King, Doraemon? Nobita opened his eyes wide and looked at the huge monster in the picture in shock. Should, right? Doraemon was also frightened and nodded after a while. Sunio held his head, his face full of despair. We have to fight with such a guy? And we have an undercover here. It's impossible to win, Mom, Fat Tiger yelled. Sunio, don't say such unmotivated words. Continue to look at the light curtain. By the evening, Nobita and his friends had been walking for a whole day, but they hadn't seen a single monster. Even Nobita doesn't have the energy to continue singing and dancing. But looking at the time, it's time to take a break. Nobita wants to sleep on a soft bed. Sunio wants to eat medium rare steak. Fat Tiger wants to eat pork chop rice. And Shizuka, of course, wants to take a bath. Doraemon Universe. Parallel journey to the west, bastard. The bold demon king hammered the throne hard, and the whole palace trembled for a moment. That fellow called Xiaofu actually dared to eat my kind. He must not be forgiven. At this time, Princess Iron Fan, who was standing by, laughed and said quickly, "Don't worry, my king. These little ghosts are definitely not your opponents. When the time comes, we will catch them all in one fell swoop. And that Xiaofu will be at your mercy, right?" "Humph," the bull demon king snorted. "Then I will definitely cook this little fellow to medium rare and then eat him." These requirements are, of course, not a problem for Doraemon. Doraemon directly took out the camping capsule hotel. The camping capsule hotel is currently the most powerful camping prop. It not only has many rooms, but also has 2 floors with a large space. The facilities in the room are quite complete, with a bed and a bathroom, and the food is also very rich. Not only the pork chop rice that Fat Tiger wants to eat, but also the steak that Sunio wants. Super Beast World, ah. All the members of the Ultra Beasts were stunned. "Aren't you in the desert? How come you live so well and eat so well? Are you sure you are here to fight monsters, not to travel?" Compared with Nobita and his group in the picture, Hualin Fei just felt that they seemed to be too different. Damn it, I wish I had a prop like a camping capsule hotel. At the dinner table, Shizuka suddenly began to reflect. We are enjoying a comfortable life in the desert. But when she thought about Master Sanzang having to stay outside, exposed to the wind and sun, suffering from hunger and cold, she felt very embarrassed. As for Tang Sung, he was indeed camping in the wild. He told Lin Lei that they would enter the desert area tomorrow, so they must rest well today and conserve their energy. After saying this, Tang Sung lay down to rest. Although Lin Lei also lay down, he seemed to be worried. As the night deepened, Fat Tiger and Sunio fell asleep. In order to prevent the monster from attacking at night, Doraemon placed a danger alarm at the head of the bed. At this time, Nobita was sitting alone in the desert, looking at the moon, wondering what he was thinking. Suddenly, Nobita turned his head sharply. "Who? Why aren't you sleeping yet?" The person who came was Shizuka. Shizuka came over and sat down next to Nobita. After seeing that it was Shizuka, Nobita immediately smiled. "Isn't it Shizuka too? Because I have never seen such a beautiful night sky." "Yes," Nobita nodded. "But there are monsters under this night sky." The two of them just stared at the night sky quietly, and then Shizuka spoke again. "Nobita, maybe Sun Wukong is not a fictional character." Nobita didn't quite understand what Shizuka meant. Then Shizuka continued. "Sun Wukong must be you. How is this possible?" The world of strangers. After seeing this scene, Zhang Chulin's eyes turned red. He, a college student, was actually raped by 2 elementary school students. It was simply the opposite of the heavenly power. Damn it, I suddenly started to envy Nobita again. He is still a primary school student. Why is he so lucky in love? Zhang Chulan thought of himself. He has been single since he was born. Not to mention dating. He has hardly even touched a girl's hand. Is there any justice or law in this? Oh, at this time, Su Si noticed that Zhang Chulan was actually crying and immediately said, "Chulan, is it so touching?" Tears are flowing out, haha, but Nobita and Shizuka's feelings are really pure. They just like each other and there is nothing complicated. I haven't seen them for a long time. Susen also nodded and smiled with satisfaction. Sure enough, it's better to be young. Zhang Chulan wiped his tears and sniffed his nose, only to find that Feng Bao had already taken a tissue and put it in front of him. "Why are you crying? Zhang Chulan, here, give you a tissue." Zhang Chulan took the tissue and said, "Thank you, Sister Bauer. I just feel a little sad." "Damn it, Nobita-senpai, you must hold on." Tira tightly grasped the double blades and shouted to Nobita, who was leaning against Shizuka in the picture. "People of my generation don't need women. They will only slow down your speed of drawing your gun." Sai Xiaozi on the side was full of envy and jealousy. Nobita's luck with women is so good. He always meets beautiful girls, and many girls like him. Comparing yourself to others is really frustrating. Ka Lulu coughed twice. Actually, there's also a very beautiful girl in our team. Sai Xiaozi and Adiita looked at Kalulu at the same time, then shook their heads and withdrew their gazes as if they had telepathically understood each other. In an instant, Kalulu felt that she was offended again and shouted angrily, "What do you two mean? Am I not beautiful?" The screen continued to play beep. Suddenly, an alarm sounded on Doraemon's side. But Doraemon fell into a daze and mistook the alarm for the sound of an alarm clock and ended up turning off the alarm. Seeing this, the audience couldn't help but feel ashamed. If that's the case, then there's no point in setting this alarm. I really admire Doraemon, who can still have such a good sleep in such a tense environment. It seems that since he lives with Nobita, he is not inferior in terms of sleeping. 5.8 It's true. The monsters started to act. Tang Xiaoban woke up at night and found that Lin Lei was gone. Turning around, he discovered that Lin Lei was plotting something with the monsters. Faced with this situation, Tang Xiaoban did not expose the truth, but turned his head and continued to pretend to sleep. What? Xiongda, look! That Lin Lei is actually in the same group with the monsters. Xiong was startled and immediately shook Xiongda's body and shouted, "What are you arguing about?" Xiongda punched Xiong on the head without any hesitation. "You don't realize it now, do you? I've given you so many hints before, but you didn't listen at all. It hurts." Xiong touched his head, looking a little silly. "Is that so?" The world of joy. In the wolf castle, this Lin Lei is a bit stupid. Why don't you meet those monsters farther away? If you are so close, don't you deserve to be discovered by Tang Xiaoban? Grey Wolf felt that Lin Lei was a little dumbfounded. Shouldn't you choose a safe place for such things? How could they plot directly behind the stone and not be completely blocked by the stone and let Tang Xiaoban see it? This is outrageous. Post views. 35 Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 093-093. Doraemon's house was robbed. Shizuka was caught. Crisis. In the light curtain, the next morning when Tang Xiaoban was about to leave, a group of monsters suddenly appeared and kidnapped him. Lin Lei did not fight with the monsters, but ran away crying. It was already daytime for Doraemon, but 4 of them were still very sleepy, probably because they were children and needed more sleep. Doraemon urged them to hurry up, as it would be bad if Tang Xiaoban arrived before them. Then, Fat Tiger asked Nobita with the somersault cloud to fly to the front for reconnaissance. It was at this time that Nobita in the past saw Nobita in the future riding the somersault cloud and save Lin Lei, who had just betrayed Tang Monk. This is why Lin Lei said to Nobita that he had saved him twice. In human world, oh my god, the world line is ended. Zhang Chuan stared with surprise all over his face. So that's how it is. So that's how it is. So that's how it is. Su Si scratched his hair with his hands and laughed softly. Wow. It turns out that the foreshadowing of what Lin Lei said at the beginning is here. This plot is good. Conan World. At this moment, the 3 idiots of Titan and the junior detective team are completely confused. They all look at Conan next to 27. What does this mean, Conan? Conan's mouth twitched, thinking that he didn't understand it, but he still explained it to them. Do you remember that the time machine has a 24-hour error? Assuming that the time set by Nobita is a specific time, then when Nobita first used the time machine to go back to the past, the error was after that time, that is a few hours later than that time. When they return to the past again, the error is pushed forward or the set time is earlier than the previous one. In this case, there is a period of time between the 2 times of crossing. During this period of time, Nobita and his friends defeated Jinjiao and rescued Tang Xiaoban and Lin Lei from Yinjiao. Finally, due to the passage of time, the time of the 3rd time travel overlapped with the time of Nobita's first time travel. So it was seen by Nobita, who traveled to the future from the past. Well, that's it. It's very simple. Forehead. The 3 nodded, not quite understanding, leaving Conan speechless. They didn't understand at all. But these elementary school students were really asking too much. The screen was still playing. It's quite exaggerated to say that Nobita was out for reconnaissance, but he didn't see 2 living people. Nobita, what have you discovered? Super Beast World. What he said makes sense. Doesn't Sun Wukong have flaming eyes? How could he not see 2 living people so big? Quilin Fei couldn't help but complain. I suspect that this Nobita is just slacking off. He might just go around and go back. Then, Nobita discovered an ominous mountain. The whole mountain was burning with flames. A mountain burning with flames? Pineapple blowing snow was stunned for a moment. Then he recognized it. Isn't this the flaming mountain? It seems that the monsters are still fast and have set the flaming mountain on fire. Chung Liuxiang nodded. Since this is the flaming mountain, doesn't it mean that the Bull Demon King is inside? It seems that it will be difficult for Nobita and the others to fight against the Bull Demon King with their current strength. After all, the Bull Demon King is so huge. He is simply a giant. Although it doesn't mean that those with a bigger body are stronger, they're definitely stronger. What's more, the Bull Demon King is the leader of the monsters, and his strength is definitely not weak. There is also a demon tower standing in the flaming mountain. Upon closer inspection, is the same one that Nobita and his friends saw in modern times. I didn't expect it to have existed since the Tang Dynasty. Facing the flaming mountain, Nobita tried to enter, but was soon forced out by the flames. In order to deal with the flaming mountain, Nobita began to recall the plot in Journey to the West, and remembered that there seemed to be a prop that could extinguish the flames of the flaming mountain. Suddenly, a voice sounded behind Nobita. Correct answer. Nobita turned around suddenly and saw Princess Iron Fan standing behind him with a palm leaf fan in her hand. She smiled and said, "Just wave my palm leaf fan and it will be extinguished." Nobita suddenly turned around and immediately recognized the person. "Are you Princess Iron Fan? Hurry up and give me the palm leaf fan. I can't give it to you." The next second, Nobita was surrounded by a group of monsters, and Princess Iron Fan flew away with a sneer. The World of Digimon Episode 5, it's over. Diamond held his head in his hands, thinking that it might not be so easy for Nobita and the others to rescue Tang Monk. Thomas couldn't help but complain. Now Nobita has a hard time even fighting a few miscellaneous soldiers. How could he be the opponent of the Bull Demon King? I'm afraid he will be slapped to death by the Bull Demon King. If you don't go to Tang Sung, you will be made into Tang Sung meat. Fujita Shino nodded her chin. As long as Nobita and the others are fine, we should be able to use the time machine to go back to the past. In this way, even if we fail, we should still have a chance. Daimon was stunned. Isn't this a save file? It turns out that this thing is used as a copy, right? But if the number of times is enough, Nobita can improve his proficiency, and perhaps defeating the Bull Demon King will not be so difficult. The screen continues to play. Nobita is fighting, and Doraemon is not doing much better. The remaining four were attacked by the Silverhorn King. Although Xiaofu was timid, he still rushed forward to fight the enemy and attack the Silverhorn King directly. Although Fat Tiger is brave, he still can't beat the real monster. At this time, he can only rely on Doraemon's props. But what's worse is that Doraemon took out the hero machine and shouted Ginkaku's name. But this time, Ginkaku got smart and didn't respond, so the props failed. Seeing that Shizuka, who played Tang Sanzang, was about to be kidnapped, Doraemon suddenly stepped forward and said, "Don't resist. We have lost. We can't defeat such a powerful monster. Let's talk it over." Seeing that the other party was showing weakness, Silverhorn replied with a good word, but he didn't expect that this was Doraemon's plan. It was Silverhorn's reply that led to Silverhorn being successfully recovered by the hero machine. Zombie World Hiss by Xiaofei took a breath and said, "I never thought that these 603 Doraemons, who look stupid and dumb, would actually play such a dirty trick." He felt sorry for these monsters. They had always stayed in the game machines and had never been in contact with human society. Their minds were so simple and scary. I'm afraid those female fairies could trick them back home with just a few words. Ahem, by Xiaofei coughed a few times. Now is not the time to be so frivolous. Good job. Doraemon, you are really worthy of it. That's right. It's worthy of being the robot cat of the 22nd century. It's even more sinister than a monster. Doraemon touched the back of his head. He was very happy at first, but when he heard the last sentence, his expression suddenly fell. Are you praising me or scolding me? Just when everyone's attention was on Yin Jiao, a pair of black hands reached out from the ground, grabbed Shizuka, and dragged her into the ground, and Shizuka fell into the hands of the enemy. Seer World, this was their home robbed? Sai Xiaoxi touched his head. This monster soldier really can't be underestimated. He actually stole the enemy's base camp directly. But the price he paid was Silverhorn. Kalulu was very anxious. Oh, why are Doraemon and the others still having fun? They haven't noticed that Shizuka has been captured. It's really frustrating to watch. Post views 32. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 094. Lin Lei's identity. Daxiong was arrested, and everyone was trapped on the light screen. The battle on Nobita's side also became fierce. Princess Iron Fan took out the palm leaf fan and blew Nobita away with 2 blows. The fan Nobita happened to fall in front of Lin Lei, and the two bumped into each other. Nobita learned from Lin Lei that Tang Xiaoban had been captured. At this time, Doraemon and others also arrived to meet Nobita. After the two sides communicated, it turned out that both Tang monks were lost. Then fast forward to the part where you throw the pot fat tiger, and Sunio accused Nobita of being too slow and not being able to come back in time to support, while Nobita accused them of not being good enough and not protecting Shizuka. Of course, we still have to save people in the end. Everyone came to the Flaming Mountain, facing the flames of the Flaming Mountain, and they were at a loss. Now, without Princess Iron Fan's palm leaf fan, they could only rely on Doraemon's props to extinguish the flames of the Flaming Mountain. Then, Doraemon took out a cloud-making machine and then used it to create a rain cloud, trying to put out the flames of Huiyin Mountain by making it rain. Unfortunately, the flames of the Flaming Mountain were not ordinary flames. They directly transformed into a flaming hand, crushing the rain clouds. At this moment, Lin Lei suddenly said, "Everyone look over there. Is it the entrance to the Flaming Mountain?" Nobita looked in the direction Lin Lei pointed, and there was actually an entrance. Shihui World, in the sheep village. Mai and Jiang tilted her head, looking a little puzzled. Strange, why did Lin Lei suddenly want to help Nobita and the others? Isn't he in the same group with those monsters? Hearing this, the village chief said, "Maybe it's because he feels guilty. I don't think this Lin Lei is a bad guy, and maybe what happened before was not what he wanted." Lazy Sheep ate the grass cake in one bite. But what's the use of going in? Isn't it looking for death? Nobita can't even beat Princess Iron Fan now, let alone the Bull Demon King. Fiangyang immediately hit Lazy Sheep on the head. "You idiot, Nobita and their friend Shizuka is still in there. How can they give up? Besides, if Tang Xiaoban is not rescued, their world will become a monster world." "It hurts." Lazy Sheep rubbed his head and said, "Just say it. Why are you hitting me?" Boiling Sheep snorted. "It's because you only know how to say discouraging words." He looked back at the screen. "This must be the entrance. I didn't expect there would be an entrance to a place like this. The fire is very fierce. What should I do next? How about this? Let's rush over in one go." Fat Tiger suggested no, but Lin Lei refused decisively. In front of everyone's surprised eyes, he continued, "The flames here are real. If you force your way in, you will definitely be caught. Everybody, follow me." Although Daxiong and his friends were a little confused as to why Lin Lei was so familiar with this place, they couldn't care less now. I had no choice but to follow him. At the same time, a burst of exciting background music sounded. There are many traps on the road. If you don't pay attention to these traps, the consequence will be death on the spot. Here, you can even find many ways to die. Fortunately, Lin Lei seemed to be very familiar with this place and knew the location of every trap. So with Lin Lei's help, everyone walked to the front of the demon tower safely. Doraemon looked at the bubbling lava below and said in disbelief, "This castle is built on lava. Let's go." Lin Lei gave an order and led Doraemon and his companions across the stone bridge to the demon tower. However, just as they arrived at the main hall of the demon tower, the ground below Nobita and his companions suddenly opened up, and the defenseless Doraemon and his companions fell directly down. Lin Lei reacted and tried to grab Nobita's hand, but he was still a step too late and watched Nobita fall. It wasn't me. Lin Lei shouted in grief, tears welling up in his eyes. "You did a great job, Red Boy." At this time, the voice of Princess Iron Fan came from behind. "Crayon Shinchan World, Red Boy." Guangxi and Mayo were both stunned and stared at the screen blankly. After a long while, Guangxi came back to his senses. If I remember correctly, Red Boy is not the child of Princess Iron Fan and Bull Demon King. Meiya took over the conversation. I didn't expect that Lin Lei is not only a monster, but also has such a great identity. Isn't he the prince among monsters? Oh my god, Guangxi wiped his sweat. It's really unexpected, but is this Red Boy really the child of Bull Demon King and Princess Iron Fan? Why can't I see how they are similar at all? Doraemon universe. Nobita's home what? Red Boy. Daxiong and the others were also shocked by Lin Lei's true identity. Lin Lei's identity is so high, damn it. Fat Tiger clenched his fist and said, I was wondering how a monster could be so kind to lead the way for us. I think this must have been planned in advance by Lin Lei and other monsters. But Daxiong recalled Lin Lei's expression at that time, which didn't seem fake. I feel like Lin Lei really wants to help us. What are you talking about, Nobita? He is a monster, and he is also the son of Princess Iron Fan. Do you think he will betray his parents to help us outsiders? Anyway, Fat Tiger doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe there is such a kind monster. That's true. Nobita didn't know how to refute. After all, what Fat Tiger said was indeed reasonable. Unless Lin Lei was really a kind-hearted monster. Hey, Doraemon sighed. We were too anxious. We knew that Lin Lei was suspicious, but we still followed him. The scene on the screen continued. Nobita and his friends were caught in the trap. When Nobita opened his eyes again, he saw Shizuka and Tang Sung being captured. Now several of them are tied to pillars, waiting for execution. At this time, Lin Lei came out from behind a pillar and looked at everyone with a guilty look on his face. Seeing Lin Lei, Fat Tiger and Sunio's faces suddenly turned ugly, and Fat Tiger even shouted directly and rudely, Lin Lei, you traitor. You were so deliberate that you even deceived Master Sanzang. It doesn't matter. Tang Sanzang shook his head, not blaming Lin Lei for anything, but smiled and said, I knew it from the beginning. Hearing this, Lin Lei raised his head in disbelief. Tang Sanzang continued, even if it's a monster, I won't refuse anyone who is willing to accompany me on this journey. If you accompany me on the journey, you will understand the purpose of my journey after a while. The world of others. On Longhu Mountain, as expected of the great monk Sanzang, the old Taoist priest stroked his white beard and sighed, even I am not as enlightened as you. I am ashamed. Although his generation could be regarded as a living ancestor in the current martial arts world, it was still a little short of that compared with Tang Sanzang. The old Taoist priest could not help but feel a little emotional to see the famous figure in history with his own eyes. However, it seems that Master Sanzang is not in a good situation. At this time, the old Taoist priest thought of the Bull Demon King again and suddenly felt itchy. He also wanted to see if the Bull Demon King could be his opponent. As for the Bull Demon King, although he was big, he did not scare him. Maybe he was just a paper tiger. Post views. 41. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 095. Leon. Go ahead, hit him in the eye. The golden hoop becomes bigger, and the Bull Demon King dies. In the light curtain, what a pity. Suddenly, a feminine voice was heard. Everyone turned their heads and saw Princess Iron Fan holding a palm leaf fan, and the Bull Demon King sitting on the throne. Princess Iron Fan glanced at Lin Lei and said, go over there quickly. The Bull Demon King was also looking at Nobita and the others at this moment, and immediately said impatiently, hurry up and let me eat them, Bull Demon King. Nobita was shocked. This size is a bit unreasonable. Why is he, Sun Wukong, so small? Princess Iron Fan quickly said respectfully, yes, I'll be right there. Next, a steaming oil pan was brought up and placed in front of Nobita and his companions. If Nobita and his companions moved their ropes forward, they would fall into the oil pan. Well, maybe Bull Demon King is new to Doraemon, so he decided to start eating from Doraemon. I'm not a 6'3" raccoon cat. I'm a robot. I won't taste good even if I am cooked. Doraemon shouted, Doraemon Universe. Nobita's home. Seeing this scene, Doraemon was full of black lines and said speechlessly, why do you start eating me first? Really, I am a robot. If you eat me, You will only get a mouthful of spare parts and oil. It is not delicious at all. Ha! Fat Tiger held his belly with his hands, pointed at Doraemon, and laughed. That bull demon king must have seen a creature like Doraemon for the first time, so he thought it was very novel and ate yours first. What are you laughing at? In the end, it will be your turn. Hearing this, Fat Tiger touched his head belatedly and said, "You're right, Doraemon. What should we do? I don't want to be eaten." Doraemon also wanted to know what to do, and said helplessly, "There's no way. I'm going to be eaten, and my hands are tied, so I can't take out the props." Sunio burst into tears. "Mom, I don't want to be eaten, and you're going to eat me. Don't put me in the frying pan. Just eat me in one bite and let me die." Shizuka clenched her hands, her face full of worry. "If I'm thrown into the frying pan, I'll become super ugly. I don't want that." Hyoga star. Oh no, it seems that Nobita and his friends are really finished now. This time, Kara really couldn't think of any way for Nobita and his friends to escape death. At this critical moment, Lin Lei quietly came behind Nobita and took out a knife. Oh my god, this Lin Lei wouldn't want to just stab Nobita to death. Pineapple Blowing Snow was stunned and guessed so. Chung Liuxiang shook his head. "I don't think that Lin Lei is that kind of person. He probably just wants to cut Nobita's rope and let him out." "Stop it now, Bull Demon King." Suddenly, a voice came from above. Everyone looked up and saw Doraemon.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.